and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Can I Get Some podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Damien. If I'm slurring my words, it's because my wife made me a birthday drink and I am feeling it right now, but I'm also feeling you guys. So I appreciate you guys rocking out with us. If you might see something differently than you used to, there's a lovely lady sitting to my left. She's going to be rocking out with me, holding me down. This is Whitney. Introduce yourself to the people, Whitney.
Hey guys, I'm Whitney. I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I work in PR and publishing, and I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, like Whitney and I, she's I met her through a close friend of mine, and he just like couldn't stop talking about it, and we had some conversation. I was like, "You the kind of person that would do well on like a podcast or a show or what have you." So let me try you rocking out with me for a minute and see what you think about it. Uh, but yeah, let's get right into what we got going on here. Has social media perverted or changed the perception of what is masculinity? Now, this is going to be a two-part show. The first is going to be has it perverted masculinity. The second is going to be has it perverted femininity. I think, with some of the tropes that have been put out there on social media, uh, people have no idea what traditional masculinity or traditional femininity is. From what I'm hearing, I've been on many a different panel and show, and it's been people complaining and whining and oh my God, women are this and men are that or what have you. So I kind of wanted to kind of expose some of these tropes and kind of get an idea where they come from. Uh, you know, some of the symptoms of it, maybe some ways to combat it or what have you. So um, let's get into it. Oh, I want you, Whitney, to tell up the story that you told me about. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about right now. Whitney had a dating experience that she was telling me about, and I just want her to kind of share with you guys. This is a perfect example of what we're talking about right now. Whitney, if you'll share a brief recap of your that dating experience
Yes,
you
right.
had.
I told you. So I guess I want to first say that this was a long time ago because I was married for 10 years and I'm recently divorced. So all this is kind of like good timing for me because I'm back in the dating world. But this experience that I'm going to talk about happened years before I was ever married and a mom. But yeah, this guy. So I live in Las Cruces. I'm real close to Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. And this guy was in the military and he wanted to date me and wanted to date me. And my cousin was like, give him a chance, give him a chance. And I really wasn't that into him. I wasn't feeling him. And I was like, no, no, no. So then finally I was like, okay, I had my heart broken by this guy. And my cousin's like, just give this guy a chance. So I shot him a text. I'm like, hey, like, all right, cool. Like, I'll let you take me to dinner. Like, I'll give you a chance. We can go on a date. And he's like, okay, great. So I at the time, this was again like years ago. So I don't know exactly what was happening, but I worked at a doctor's office and on my lunch break, I meant to get to the bank and I didn't get to the bank. But for whatever reason, my debit card just wasn't working. So I shot him a text. I said, hey, like, I don't mind driving to El Paso, which is an hour away from Cruces, to meet you for dinner. But just a heads up, like, I fully expect you to pay for dinner because my debit cards aren't even working right now. Like, I don't have access to my bank account. I tried to make it there for lunch. I didn't. So we get to lunch at, or dinner at the Olive Garden, and we have dinner and it's a little awkward. It's whatever. We order food and the check comes and the server like puts it in the middle of the table, and it was the most awkward 15 minutes. Nobody touched the check. So finally I like slide it over to him and I'm like, okay, like there you go. And he slides it back to me. And he's like, no, like you got it. And I was like, no, like I very clearly text you, like I have the receipts, like I text you and told you I can't, like I don't have a working card right now. And he was like, oh, just go ahead and try it. And I was like, no, you don't understand, like the card that I have, that account is completely closed. I opened a new account, I don't have a card, like it won't work. He said, just go ahead and try it. Again, I'm young, dumb, naive, so I'm like, okay. So I give the server my card, super embarrassed because I'm like, it's not gonna work, it's gonna be declined. Sure enough, it's declined. It's a closed account, of course. And so then I'm like, okay, your turn. Like, your turn to try your cards. He gave them like 4 or 5 cards. All of them were declined. Now, New
Tell them
Whitney,
what you end up having to do, because it's the funny part
yeah.
is what you ended up having to do. That's the
Oh,
crazy part.
so I knew Whitney would have just left and been like, "You're on your own, figure it out." But so my dad, because I was in college at the time still, so my dad had given me his credit card to buy my college books. So I had it written on a piece of paper. So I take the server around to the back. I tell him what happens. I'm like, we could manually enter my dad's credit card. I don't know what else to do. So I pay, I tip him, we leave. The audacity of this dude tried to kiss me. He walked me out to the car to try to kiss me. I was like, bro, absolutely not. Like, I just want to go home. I call my dad on the drive home. I'm like, have to tell him what happened. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My dad laughed at me and he was like, I was like, I'll pay you back. And he was like, you're good. It was like, $50, whatever. Horrified.
I mean, and
And
that's
then
kind of what it.
he
That's
texted
kind
me.
of
He
what.
was like,
Oh,
I
go
got
ahead.
it next time. And I was like, next? Like, there's no next time? Like, what do you mean? Like, absolutely not.
This is the kind of stuff that I think people are going through. It's like, it's just this like crazy situation going up where like the expectations are just all over the place. What people are attempting to do when they're dating, like it just, like I said, I just feel like there needs to be more conversation about people, like men being masculine, women being feminine, or what have you. So thank you for sharing that. It had me cracking up the first time you told me.
Golly,
But
yeah.
we are not here by ourselves. We got assembled a great panel of people to come up and help rock out on this topic. Let me start bringing people up. The first one to bring up is my birthday twin. Her birthday is today as well. It's rare that I find somebody who has a December 2nd birthday. But I want to bring up Miss Raquel, aka Smell the Roses.
Hi everyone.
How are you doing today?
Good.
It's your birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming and spending your birthday with me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right. Next person I want to bring up is this brother. This brother, like I said, you can read Horton Hears a Who, and it'll sound distinguished and prolific, because the coolest brother with a British accent. Bring it up, Mr. Little Black Book. How you doing, brother? How's your day going?
Going smoothly. I can't lie. It's going well.
Okay, good. Listen to him. Going smoothly. I can't lie. It's going well.
Try my best.
Next, I want to bring up, this is another one of my cool peoples. I really rock with this woman. She's one of those, like, I just get it shit done. It's just like, hey, you need a transmission pool, call Natty. You need somebody to pose in do a photo shoot, call Natty. You need somebody to build you a dresser, call Natty. She's just one of people just get shit done. Give it up for my girl. All right, next, you guys will recognize this cat. This cat and me have been rocking out for a while. We've been on a bunch of different panels together. We used to be on Will Nicosi's panel. Shout out Will Nicosi, The Masculine Mind. I just really respect everything this brother had to say. Give it up for the sophisticated joke. All right.
I feel a little gypped though, man. Little Black Book got the English acid. I sound like Carlton Banks, man. Can you give me a voiceover or something?
Seriously, just start moving your lips and let Little Black Book talk for you. So, like I said, this topic is going to be one that I think we can have a little bit of fun with, because, like, I don't want it to be a staunch, crazy, unfun topic. But what I want to do is I want to play a game with you guys, if you guys are down to play a game. We're going to start at the first hour. It's going to be just all fun, just getting to know each other, seeing how people rock. All right. But what this what's going on now kind of reminds me of something that was happening 17 years ago. You know, the complaining, the blame, the lack of accountability, the lack of resilience that I'm seeing on some of these panels and people talking, just talking to people. It reminded me of a epidemic that was happening 17 years ago. You know, one man saw the epidemic coming and he kind of sounded the horn on it, and he started a movement to keep the epidemic from becoming a pandemic, and he was successful in it. Unfortunately, in later years, this man has fallen out of favor and has gone down kind of a dark hole. But the work he's done is seems to be even more necessary today than it was back in the day. And I want to show you a clip of this man, like watching this epidemic unfold. Here it is.
News special report. This is Al Pennyfeather, and I'm here in the heart of Times Square, New York City, and it is just bitch-assness rampant everywhere I look. Up, down, and all around. I just seen about a dozen people walk by me that had just so much bitch-assness in them, it was ridiculous. This is a cold orange alert. I repeat, I thought it was quarantine. Let's go back to Sheila in the studio.
There are several signs of bitch-assness. Short-term memory loss, excessive excuses, chronic blinking, scratching. Please use precaution before coming into contact with anyone, for they may be a carrier of the disease.
So, the Can I Get Some podcast is not about that. And we are officially a no bitch assness zone. So, we are not going to be having no excuses, no lack of accountability, no whining, no complaining, no pointing the fingers. We're not going to have finger pointing without self looking at yourself. We're not going to have blame without accountability. This is officially no bitch asses zone. And if anybody, I'm gonna drop the link later and feel like anybody can feel free to come up. And if I hear any of that, Papoose is gonna let you know. So that's what's up. So what I want to do with you guys, and if you guys bear with me, I'm gonna play some videos and then we're gonna talk about it. And then you're gonna tell me if you feel like it's a significant lack of real masculinity, aka bitch assness. Okay. First video I'm gonna play. And we looked at this back in the day, Jerk, but it was a good video. This happened earlier in the year, but I think it's still what's going on nowadays. Hold
on. Let's see. What's the most amount of money you've ever spent on a man that you were involved with?
On a man that I'm involved with? Mm-hmm. If I'm being honest, if a man that I'm involved with, there is no limit. If I love you, I love you. And I'm going above and beyond. There is no limit.
Okay. In the past, like just off the top of your head, ballpark.
Figure? $2,000 on a watch. Why?
So my reason for answering that question is because I'm very unselfish. The women that I've dealt with that I know like me have a unselfish and just a very giving nature. So that number, I don't know the relationship, the extent of the relationship, but I know women have spent money on and what they spent money on and how much when they really, really care about somebody.
Yeah, it can go higher than that. It's not, that's what I said, I don't really put a price on it because it can go higher. However, that particular guy, we were dating for like not even a year yet. So it was just kind of like, I'm going to get you something because yes, we're dating.
Okay.
Yes, we're continuing.
Okay. I would have start off. I would have asked Little Black Book, is that or is that not bitch asses or a lack of masculinity?
That's gonna be a little bit interesting. I actually get what he was saying. I think it's the way it's delivered, right? I think it's the way it's delivered and the angle that he comes at it, right? Relationships require reciprocation, whether you're a man or woman, in order to have a healthy relationship. The problem is that he first of all mentioned the monetary and then used it as a disqualifier in this particular case. And the disqualifier was actually quite high. So it was like, for the average person who's listening to that, £2,000 or $2,000 is a lot of money. You know what I mean? So the fact that she spent that amount of money and he wanted to disqualify her, also he did not make it known what he also spent. It was like, it looked some way, right? But I understood what he was trying to get at in that particular aspect. If you're asking whether it's, the bitch arseness in that respect, I can see why you're going at that angle. You know what I mean? I can see why you're hitting on that particular perspective. I'm gonna remain neutral for now, because sure as we discuss more, I might have a more, detailed response. But for me, I understood what he meant about reciprocation. I think the way he delivered it did show me that he has an imbalance in the way that he looks at relationships, and there's something deeper that he needs to look at. But I'll rest it there.
See how intelligent and articulate he did it. I wish I could do it like that. I'll give my take last. Go ahead, Rock. What do you think?
Me too. I wish I could do it like that too. Yeah. So I understand where he's coming from. The way she was very flippant at the $2,000. It's like if I buy my husband a motorcycle, I know exactly what I spent on that motorcycle. Even if it's a motorcycle part, or it's like what he's trying to do is punish her, I think, for the lists that women get on these kinds of shows with. They come on with a list that's a mile long, and they have all these things that they want from men. But then when a man asks you, what was the most expensive gift you bought a man that you were romantically involved with, you just spit out $2,000 as if it's some kind of trophy, or and I'm not trying to knock the $2,000, but surely, I mean, I'm a young lady that has a few bags in her closet. None of my bags were at $2,000. They're like 23, 26, 27. You feel me? So it's just like, it didn't. I think she would have been better if she would have said something like, if she just would have kept it at, when I'm involved with someone and I love them, there is no limit, and just stick to that and not mention a number. If the goal is to get a man, then you're supposed to be trying to be strategic. That just seemed like a very weak move.
Okay, interesting take. How about you, Jerk?
It was definitely bitch assness. Hearing it for the second time, because I see what Little Black Book was saying, because I think he was trying to say he wanted the reciprocation, but he went overboard with the, I think a lot of people want to portray the alpha stuff. So he went overboard on it. Then it just seemed materialistic. Because, I mean, most chicks is buying socks and ties. So if she spent $2,000 on a watch, like, that's pretty good. But he was like, well, I spent more than that, Pop. So it was dramatic. So, yeah, definitely bitch assness at level 10.
All right. What about you, Natty?
I'm going to agree with the sophisticated jerk 100%. Like, when you're dating, like, you're not even involved with that person. It's a lineup. Like, why are you bringing money into the equation? To me, it's lose-lose from the get-go. And that she dodged a bullet.
What about you, Whitney?
He just gave me, what is it, the ick? Like, I just was turned off by all of it, because you're a man asking a woman for a gift. Like, I just feel like it should be the other way around. Aren't men supposed to be the ones that are the providers, that are like the gift givers? And I'm not saying that I'm not down for reciprocation, because I am, but that's a wild question to ask somebody from the jump. And I just felt like it was very shallow and materialistic.
All right.
Right. Even as a female, I would never have a monetary question that early. That, to me, it's ick factor all the way.
Yeah, the fact alone that that's his question to the woman is bitch assness.
Might be bitch assness. All right. So I gave up. Go ahead.
Versus like what he can get out of it, or what he can get out of her. Like, it felt like what he could like take her for was.
Yeah. All right. So I guess, Papoose, what do you think? So I guess it is, because I absolutely agree. I said this on Jerk. I had this on his panel when I went on his. I absolutely think he's looking to be the bad bitch. He's looking to be taken care of. He's looking to be spoiled. He's like, you see me and you see you. you're gonna have to spend the amount to get me. He's flipping the script. He's Uno reversing the situation. He's just like, I'm, I know what women spend on stuff, and you need to spend that on me. That's where he came from. And the fact that he tried to clean it up with, I'm unselfish, so that means you have to spend all this money on me. Like, one thing it shouldn't have to be, there shouldn't be the qualifier, well, I'm unselfish, so I need you to spend more than $2,000 on a watch for me. I think that dude's definitely looking to be a bad bitch. But would it change you guys' mind as if you found out that she ended up picking that dude? Like, she ended up, he popped his balloon. She was able to, I cut it off, but she was able to like talk her way into convincing him to get the balloon back. Like, oh, you saw it at the end. She started to be like, oh, we were only dating a year and this, that, and the other. So she was just like, no, I may pay more. She basically said, I'm willing to trick on you, sir. I'm willing to be the sugar mama, sir. So all these expectations are justified. Now, is her convincing herself that this is a guy that she wants to be with just because of the way he looks? Is that bitch assness? Because bitch assness ain't just about men. Is that somebody? What do you think? That's bitch assness. Is that bitch assness? Is she convincing a man who put it out there that these are my value set, this is my preference, and he first kicked us like convincing her, no, I'm worthy of you. Is she actually displaying bitch assness as well? Anybody can jump on that.
It's a trauma response.
I think she traumatized.
Trauma response, because she felt like she was getting rejected, and it was like, no, wait, hold on, I'm gonna convince you that I'm good enough. And in reality, been there, done that. So no judgment, sis. But in reality, he probably didn't deserve her to begin with. And instead of just being like, okay, cool, and walking away, she felt the need for whatever reason inside her to prove that he should want her and should pick her. It was almost like reverse psychology, right?
Exactly, Whitney. And I think we talked about this earlier too, Dame, where I told you about intentionally telling people no just to see how they respond. Because I've had guys trip out, having a total emotional temper tantrum. And it's like, even if I was originally interested in you and I threw you the no just to see how you'd respond, like, you sealed the deal with your response. So 100% with she couldn't take the rejection. So then she's willing now to do something that she may not have done in the beginning had he kept his balloon in the first place.
I want to ask Rock a question. Is that a power that men have over women that to manipulate them, to make them want their approval? Like, we've seen tropes in like movies and stuff like that. It was this one movie I was watching. This guy called this woman the wrong name every day. She's like, that her name's not Jennifer, her name's Allison. She's like, yeah, but she'll wonder, she'll think that I'm comparing her to somebody named Jennifer, and she must want to know who this Jennifer is, and then she'll somehow end up seeking my approval. I was like, Is this a game that men can play with women to say, hey, I'm going to make you vie for my approval, so here's how I manipulate you? Because she seemed to fall for a hook, line, and sinker. What do you think about that, Rock?
Yes, especially depending on like your, I think, age and worldliness, like how much world life have you had? Have you traveled? Have you, gone places? Have you seen things? Yeah, that can totally happen. Now, I think more so at a younger age, I think women, you kind of like, some of us like grow out of that. It's like you might have done that for your college boyfriend, but it's like you learned through his trickery that was not going to always get you the best result. But yeah, totally. I mean, that's why there's terms like grooming, like men can totally do that. And a part of like grooming, like, you, not to bring this lady up, but like Monica Lewinsky was a very young lady. You know what I mean? She was it was, it ruined her life forever. This man is fine. But yeah, you can totally. I'm pretty sure that she was kind of led down that road because she, in her mind, was internalizing it like, if she does this thing, it will give her, her end result, which is a relationship or whatever, whatever the thing is that she wants from the guy. So yeah, it is a thing that men do.
Yeah.
I got to get some pushback on that.
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
Not just on what Smell the Roses was saying. It's not manipulation. I think sometimes, man, we give that too much power. It's like, man, people operate off of desires, attraction, or they're either materialistic. So it falls in one of those categories. So if they see something they want, they might try to lie to themselves, like they was manipulated, but they saw something that they was going to benefit from that interaction. So even in that clip, the lady was definitely, that was bitch assness too. Because like you said earlier in the clip, she was all talking about all the standards she had and she threw them out there to pursue that guy. So yeah, she definitely had bitch assness. So there's not a lot of manipulation. Because if you're honest, you talk to most people, they have somebody that was like, hey, don't go down that path. Here's the red flags I see in that person, and they go anyway. So yeah.
Okay, so KNR had it back. They both were. So that's what's up. So, okay, next one is a clip that you know what? This is gonna be. I'm gonna do a couple some questions as well as clip. I want to pull up this question because I know that Rock will have some things to say about this one. Hold a second. Okay, go ahead and read this, Whitney, if you don't mind.
Looking down on men who date women with children.
Is that bitch assness? Rock, what you got to say about that?
You're coming to me because of what happened the other day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't looking down on men who date women with children. But my thing was, and this goes back to what we were just talking about, the manipulation part, right? There are some men that are just going to pump and dump baby mamas. That is a thing. And the women it's not like they're going into the relationship signing up to be a pump and dump. There is some manipulation going on there. The guy is acting like he's going to be more interested than he actually is. And then she's going to let down her walls and, they're going to have their fun and their row in the bed. And then when he's done and, with the thrill of her, he will move on and she will go on a show like Kendra G and complain about him. And she'll do that 1 or 2 or 3 times, having babies, because I'm bringing up Kendra G because we are often reviewing her. And there are often women on there that are 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 or 5 for 5. And I have to think that none of the men after the first baby's father were intentionally trying to be baby daddy number 2, baby daddy number 3, baby daddy number 4. They were just trying to get some easy cooch. So that guy on the show, he's a TikToker, no offense, but what we look at TikTok as like the gynocracy. You cannot go against women on TikTok. And so his platform is a whole bunch of women who have children and no men. And this guy is up here telling me and all of the other women that, oh, real men, they don't look down on women with children. And that's all well and good until you say, as you're arguing with me, well, my wife only has my children. oh, well, now we have a problem because see, you've made 3 babies mothers. And then right after he made that statement, he said, my wife has had my children. And would I want my wife to have all of my children? Yes. So yes, in his respect, I do look down on him because you're pumping up one thing on TikTok, but then you're over here on YouTube on panels with other people saying that you're so proud of the fact that you have a wife that's only had your children, but you also have 3 baby mamas back there that have broken homes. So he's not. It doesn't match. So I look down on
Jesse C. Okay, look, I'm talking. You made it super specific. All right, let me read Jesse. These days, as a single 39-year-old male, it's hard to find someone around my age without kids. I also don't have kids, by the way. So it's at what age do you be like, hey, I gotta date somebody with kids because everybody got kids at my age.
I can jump in on this because I'm also 39.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm newly single and I have 3 children. And I've dated this guy off and on for the past year. And by the way, he chased me for, you're not wrong, like for 4 months, like die hard chased me. And I was like, look, I'm newly divorced. I have 3 kids, like not in the headspace to be dating. Chased me. Finally, I was like, okay. We started dating, but also like nobody's met my kids. Like I have a rule, like 6 months to a year of very serious dating before you come anywhere near my children. So far nobody has met my children, but yeah, the problem was that a lot of the guys that I've even just talked to, he didn't have kids and he wanted kids, and my tubes are tied. I'm done. I'm 39. I have 3. I'm done. And that was one of our biggest things. And I've talked to 2 or 3 other guys around 39, 40 that also don't have kids and want kids. So for some reason, there's this dynamic right now where like, just like Jesse, like 39 without kids and wants kids. And I'm done with that. So essentially there was other things that kind of were hiccups in the relationship, like why and me and that guy after a year of whatever kind of ended. But one of the main things was he really wanted children and I really did not want anymore.
One of the things I'm hearing a lot in these YouTube streets is, oh, you gave your best to the first man and you want me to come and clean up. You want me to clean up and raise another man's kid after you went and wowed out with the next person. The first guy got the best of you because he got your virgin womb to have kids with, but now I get what's left over, and and I got the headache of another man or whatever like that. Men who are okay with being like stepfathers and stuff like that are nowadays looked at as like suckers. I was raised by a stepfather. I can tell you, my dad was a man's man. He was nobody's sucker, believe me. So why do you think men are ostracizing men who are okay with dating women and with kids and becoming a stepfather? What do you think, Jerk?
I think because we, in our own personal lives, you probably seen somebody that had a bad experience. So it's just like once you see some of those bad experiences, whether it's like the disciplining, because if you're that new guy coming into that situation, there's different dynamics. Then you have the stepdad that comes in there, might try to punk you. So I know, like off the top of my head, I've seen a couple of bad experiences like that. So when you're talking to other guys, like you shouldn't be bashing them like you're saying, but it's just like, hey, there is a lot of difficulties, different dynamics that you got to analyze if you're taking on that role. Then, there's also a financial component to that. So it's just like, hey man, you're going to be technically raising somebody else's kids, so it's a lot of stuff that goes with it. So I think that's where guys are pretty much projecting when they're saying this stuff that harshly. They're like, hey dude, don't go down that path because you got A, B, C, D that you got to look out for, and it's not favorable in a lot of cases. So I think they're just trying to paint that picture.
I want to ask you, do you think, are they going mostly off of theory and not practice? most of these guys haven't done it, but they just assume that it's just going to be this terrible experience based on what other people in the manospheres that they kind of live in are saying. You know, it could be one of the greatest experiences. Like my stepdad says, he's super happy that, you know, he had me as a stepson and my brothers and stuff like that. But he don't even call it, ain't even stepson, it's just son, you know. It's just like, is it you think people have this view of it because of the influence of people who actually have never done it?
Yeah, I think it is some of that, but I think a lot of times, man, people are projecting, putting themselves in those situations, and they're picturing themselves. So, for example, like I'll be that ignorant baby daddy that's like causing trouble and stuff. So I could just see how difficult I would make that dynamic. I'll be like, man, if anybody touch my son, you know, you're gonna have hell to pay. So I think it's probably some projection to it. But like you said, they technically didn't experience that, because you could have a situation like yours where, you know, it played out right. People were mature, they had boundaries and stuff like that. So I mean, if you structure it like that, then yeah, it'll work out. But I think a lot of people might be childish, like myself.
What about you, Natty? No, did you want to say something, Whitney?
After Natty, I will.
Okay, go ahead, Natty.
So I'm speaking from a little bit different perspective. I have two children's fathers. My daughter had her dad, and then my son, who I married, his dad. But we never really had any issues. And then my ex-husband, he also had a first wife. So we had a huge blended family, stepmamas and daddies everywhere. But when you put your emotions and your ego to the side from your previous relationships, and everybody's on one accord about discipline, financing, how everything works, it's really not a problem. But I think, like they said, some people, if you're speaking from projection, from ego, from your emotions, because you're not over things, you make it harder for yourself. But if everybody can sit down and be adults, then you can also have like the birthday parties were huge, you know, and the kids are getting loved by even more people. So you can't take that away from them.
What about you, little black book? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. It's okay. I was going to piggyback off of what she said, is that on the flip side of it, I haven't, even though I am a single mom, I haven't dated anyone with children. But I think for me, like the big dynamic is like, what is the relationship with your baby mama like? Because me and my ex-husband co-parent very peacefully, and we're both adults, and we put our children first always. And then the second part of that is like, how do your children act? Because my kids mind their P's and Q's. Like, you're not coming into a household where my kids are like not disciplined or out of control. Like, you're coming into a household where my children were taught respect. And so for me, like, if I was going to date a man with kids, if I was going to flip it, it depends on his parenting and the relationships and like what exactly I'm stepping into.
All right. What about you, little black book?
Yeah. I think obviously, you know, coming into a situation where someone's got kids, it's not easy, right? Because you've got to be able to blend two different cultures. It's not easy having two separate people who are single, let alone two people that now someone's got kids, right? So there's a culture aspect. There's number two, there's an awesome aspect in terms of whether that man or that woman who's coming into a family actually gets on with the kids. Because one of the biggest things that I think for people is that if the kids don't like that person, it's usually a good indication that these kids have got a good sense. If you've trained your kids pretty well, the kids have got a good sense. Children are very unique in the way that they can spot people that are not safe. A bit like your dog. Not saying the kids are dogs, but I'm saying like how dogs can really they can suddenly behave in a particular way when someone comes in the house, usually because that person's not safe. Their energy is not a safe person. So it can be very difficult. And I think sometimes on both parties, it's tough because the person who's got kids sometimes can ignore what the kids are saying and just want to keep the relationship. And that can be a wrong person, which will do further damage. And meaning that they'll probably have more scars going to another relationship. And then the person who's obviously encountering that too, if they're not ready for the responsibility or what it takes in terms of becoming, because you're going to be automatically, quote unquote, a stepfather. You are going to play some level of a responsible role. No matter how much any woman tells you that, hey, I've got my kids in P's and Q's, you don't have to do anything. It's not true. You're going to have to do something because you're not only getting with the woman in question, but you're also going to be blended into those kids' lives. So the question really is as well, depending on that particular woman, is she okay with giving up some of those reins in terms of you coming in also to play that role? Because some people are happy to say that they want that role, but actually when you step into that role, they're not happy to give up control, right? So these are all things you have to start actually having conversations on, observing, seeing how we move, but you also got to know yourself as an individual. I don't think anybody should looking down on anybody, but it's also understandable why some people don't want to date people who have kids. You know what I mean? I don't think we have to talk wickedness and bad and talk nastily on anybody who has kids. You know what I'm saying, Chu? And you're right. When it does work, it's such a beautiful thing. The people that have been blessed enough to be in an environment where it's been blended have really benefited, from somebody who took a chance and said, actually, I'm going to love you. I'm going to love your mom as well. Like, those things are wonderful things when they work. You know what I'm saying, Chu? But just like any relationship, you have to count the cost, and you have to make sure that you yourself are mature and you're ready and you're emotionally intelligent, because looking after kids, as a mother, she's already having to look after them. So she hasn't got a choice. But you coming into that situation, you get a choice. And that means you need to also do your really due diligence on this aspect. The last thing is this. I remember when I was probably like 22, 23, I remember I was in church at a time and was talking to a young lady at a time, and she had a son. I remember we had a conversation, and I'll be honest with you, I was really naive myself. I thought I knew a lot. I knew nothing. But I asked her the question. I was like, yo, like, obviously, like, what's it like with, being a mom? And if let's say we was getting a relationship, what would that be like? I said, would I, because obviously I come from a very disciplined household, right? So I was like, would I be in a position where if I come into this relationship, that you're going to be able to trust me to be able to discipline him? I'm not talking about beating him. I don't need to beat kids to just discipline them. To discipline him, is that going to work? And she was like, and that told me all I need to know. I said, brother, it's not about her. She's not being bad or anything, but she's also maybe not. And maybe it could also be because we're quite still kind of new, trying to figure each other out. She doesn't fully trust me like that. I can understand that. But as soon as I heard the I said, me too. I need to make sure that this ain't going to be the one, because there may be a tussle and a warfare between me and her, which will inevitably affect the kids. You know what I mean? So I just think that everybody has to kind of consider those things. I think it's beautiful when it works. Nobody has to look down on anybody. If women don't want to date men with kids, I'm happy for you not to date men with kids. If men don't want to date women with kids, I'm happy not for you to date kids. We just don't need to talk badly about any of them from either side.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I mean, I think Papoose and I agree, because I feel like this is I think, like my statement that I said earlier, there's too many people talking off of theory and not practice. Two people who've never been a stepdad, never like dated anybody with children, telling men, "Oh, you got to look out, or you got to look out." You don't know what their situation is. I could say, like, I was married before my wife now, and I had a stepson, and yeah, I had a the dad there was a pain in the ass. He was in a whole nother state, calling my house, telling me, put my son on the phone. I was like, hey, your daddy on the phone. He don't want to talk to you. Put him on the phone. I'm like, I'm not your son. You're not going to tell me to put him on the phone if he don't want to be on the phone, And we would go back and forth and stuff like that. And I just realized, that whole situation, like, is not for me. If I were to be single, I know my wife went crazy. I know you watching, or she passed away and decided, and I ended up single. Yeah, I'd have a lot of questions and a lot of specific requirements for me to engage in that again. Like, there's a difference between I was married, I had 3 kids, my man died, or we divorced, or I have 1 kid. But if you're like, I got 4 baby daddies, then I'm like, that just, like, how do you maneuver that? Where do I fit in? Like, I got 4 different male energies I gotta combat, what have you. I can understand if dudes don't want to do that, or they're a lot more discerning in those cases. But just as an overall, like, blanket statement that guys like Russell Wilson, who met like Sierra, who have 1 kid or whatever, or other people that have 1 kids are suckers, or and they're soft or simps or whatever, man. And seriously, I'm just like I can't rock with that. So I think, yeah, I agree with Papoose. That's bitch assness.
But Dame, do people really need to experience, I'll say, like being a step parent to realize like the difficulties with that? Because man, like I got a son and he's difficult as hell, and I just know like if my wife got remarried, he's challenging that guy. So if somebody was looking at that like, man, I don't want to deal with that, just based on my experience with my own child, can't they somewhat place that into those dynamics and be like, nah, I'm good on that?
Well, they could, I believe they could ask you, or they could ask me, what was your experience, and I can give my honest feedback on what it was. But I don't put it on I don't look down on the dudes who can look past that. We're talking about, if a dude says that doesn't bother me. Oh, he's a difficult kid. Well, I love the mom enough to like stick it out and try to like work it out or whatever. I'm not going down that dude like, oh, you a sucker, you a simp or whatever like that. I'm like, dude, all right, that's you. It couldn't be me. Just say that.
Oh, okay,
you don't got to say that you are a sucker or a simp or try to down talk him because he can do something you don't have the ability to do. That's where I think the bitch asses come in. Just like making it a blanket statement, like any dude who do it is a sucker. Because one thing I know, my stepdad wasn't a sucker. I wasn't a sucker when I tried to. It just didn't work out for me, But I wouldn't say a man who's like, I can rock with it. Rock on. It's a bad shelf.
Okay.
All right. Next, I'm gonna play another video. Videos are always fun. All right. Let's play another video. Now, this is a sneak one, and I want you guys to really pay attention to this one right here.
Don't sleep with them. Don't cook for them. Don't clean up behind them. Don't invite them into your space. Date them all and may the best provider win. And the only men that have a problem with this are the manipulators, the narcissists, the compulsive liars, the men that want you to provide for them. Look, keep your options open. And to the women that say, well, I can't juggle 5 men at a time. You were dealing with a complete narcissist. This man had 5 different personalities. Every day you woke up, you see a different version of this man. You can date a different man every day of the week. Stop giving 10 years to men that don't value you, 5 years to men that don't value, giving your body to men that don't value you, and then having children by these men. Date them all. Date every single one of them and may the best provider win. Men are competitors. They love to compete. Make these men compete for your love. You have given yourself too easily and allowed these weak men to walk in your life.
Okay. Now, the question related to that's Yada Awakening, a well-known panderer to women, is encouraging women to do things that would most likely put them in a lower, like men look at them lower, and kind of like really kind of affect their dating potential. Is that bitch assness? I'm gonna go with Natty first.
I reposted that story the other day. I get what he's saying about women giving things away too easily and then staying for too long, because I've done that as well. But I definitely don't have the energy to date them all, a new person every day. That's just not my style. So I'm neutral on that one because I see what he's saying, but at the same time, I don't agree with certain parts of what he said.
All right, I'm gonna see how. Anytime somebody says I'm neutral or both, I'm never gonna let you get away with that. No, I think that's weak. All right, this is what I'm gonna say to challenge you. Would you encourage your daughter to do that?
Never.
Then you're not neutral about it. You have an opinion.
Just because I'm not encouraging other people to do it. Like, I've never been one to tell my kids how to live their life. And for those that don't know, my kids are grown. My daughter's 24. She's married. I have 2 grandbabies. My youngest is about to graduate high school. So my kids, at this point, they're always coming to me like, Mom, what should I do? Mom, what should I do? And I'm like, well, think about this, think about that. I put things out there to try to encourage them to think for themselves. And I'm like that with everybody. So not just my kids. So that's why I'm saying, like, I get what he's saying, but it's not a one size fits all issue. There's going to be people who are 18, 20 years old, don't have kids, are out there having fun. those people, I mean, I'm sure some of us, we all had our 20-year-old days where we were dating multiple people. We were talking to multiple people. So it all depends again on the same thing we were talking about earlier. You know, it's not going to work for everybody. You can't tell them what to do. I don't look down on people who still live that way, even in their 40s. If you're 40, newly divorced, and you don't have any kids and you want to get back out there and you're dating and just talking to all new people, not being exclusive with anybody, that's your prerogative. That's your life. So I'm not one to say anybody's right or wrong about what they choose to do. I get what he's saying, but would I recommend it for people to do? No, because it's a personal choice.
Yeah, like I said, I don't disagree with exploring options, but his premise, and anybody want to jump me if I'm seeing it totally askewed, is make them fight for you, pit them against each other, play these games. You know, that's what his premise was. It wasn't, you know, quietly, respectfully explore your options, date multiple people, keep them. It's like pit them against each other. You know, let the best spender win or what have you. I think that right there is detrimental to women. I think he goes in with the premise that he's doing a service to women, but I think it's very detrimental because the vast majority of the men that these women are looking for are going to view them a certain kind of way if they find out that's what they're doing. It's going to be
I can see what you're saying from that point. Yeah. But, you know, it's like what he's saying. I'm sure all of us, when we were younger out there dating, we all did it. And we all went through that phase where you're single and you're dating and you're talking to a bunch of girls or you're talking to a bunch of guys, and whoever you end up with was a process of elimination.
But
the club days.
We
was putting people up against each other in the club days.
Yeah.
So
I ain't gonna lie.
Plead the fifth, Dane. Plead the fifth.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. But
says it all.
I wasn't relationship minded. I wasn't focused on getting into healthy relationships. I was just looking to have fun.
But that's how you found your relationship, though.
But no, actually not. I had to. If you know my story, it's like I stepped away from all that to kind of focus in on becoming a better person. I stepped away from the whole club scene and everything like that, and just divested in trying to be the best me. And that's when my wife reappeared in my life. You know, so that's what I think. That's the my story. But I just think a lot of those people who saying go out and just date everybody and have a fun. If you're having fun, I don't knock anybody for having fun. I like to have fun when I was younger. You know, it's no problem with that. It's just if you're doing it in a way that if you know 5 guys are really trying to get to know you and putting in their best effort to be the one, and you're pitting them against each other, having fun with them, I think it becomes detrimental. And you at some point, men are going to start looking at you like you're not worth my time.
Yeah, in that sense, I totally agree with you.
You gonna say, Jerk?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, first of all, Yada's a trick. So he takes his message, he'll drop in a couple of truths in there, but it's all wrapped in like pretty much he probably got with people that didn't like him, so that's why he has to throw money at him and he wants everybody else to follow suit. But what he was saying for the women, like how they should date, it's a contradiction because it even goes back to where we were talking about the manipulation. And I was like, man, manipulation don't exist. So it's like, if you go out there, you entertain all these options, for the most part, one of them guys, you're going to start liking and you're going to start sleeping with him, maybe a couple of people. So that's how stuff plays out. So what he's doing is just like, oh, well, don't entertain everybody. But it's like, man, you're a human. You're going to have feelings and emotions and a connection with somebody. And if you are materialistic, then what he's trying to trap you into a bidding system, you know, you're going to go with the guy that's throwing the most money at you. And then typically those guys that do that, because we know as men, they have to do it for a reason. That's why they will ghost you after a while, because nobody wants to sit there and throw money at somebody that really don't like them like that. So that's the cycle that he's actually putting women in. It's just like they're going to entertain you for a while. Then when they get what they want, they're going to jump off and throw money at the next chick. So it's a bad system. Anything he says, discard that, ladies.
Rock.
I agree with Sophisticated Jerk. Yada is a trick. I wouldn't believe him. His message is FUBAR. Absolutely not. And I agree also with well, there was someone in the comments that said they don't like how people use love as a game, and I don't agree to that either. But ladies, or young ladies, like, it behooves you to be strategic, and casting all your eggs out into all of these different baskets and tempting yourself, with men that you might like, but don't like you in that way. Then you start trading things that will make you not be able to lay your head down on the pillow at night comfortably. And I just, so the bidding war thing, and dating all these men, I think that is more of what we don't want. We actually want people to stop doing that, because doing that is what's causing it to come off like a game. And none of it's not working. The numbers of marriages aren't going up, they're going down. And then I was listening to something the other day where they were polling high schoolers, children graduating from high school, and the boys at 18, number 3 on their list was like a family and children. But for the girls, that was like number 6 on their list. So it's like now the girls are starting to adopt this, like, I get, like, maybe like a misogynist attitude towards dating, like turning it into a bidding war. Like, they like the bidding war. Like, you hear them say, like, if he's not taking me, like, I don't eat at Roof Chris, or I don't eat at chain restaurants. Like, that's a part of what Yada is talking about, that bidding war, because it's not just literally throwing dollars at you. It's like paying for your time for whatever experience that's going to lead you down that path of getting taken advantage of, or misappropriating your eggs in places they shouldn't have been in the first place. I mean, I don't know.
Little Black Book, you want to jump in there?
Yeah. So this is, again, one of those intriguing conversations. Would I first, obviously, make the advice to my daughter to do exactly what Yada said? No, I wouldn't. I think first and foremost, the problem that we have here is the qualifiers that he used. In 2025, he's made the qualifiers one of survival, not of thriving. Whenever you whittle down a man to who's the best provider, he didn't even talk about the emotional aspect, which is the most important thing for any man or woman in a relationship. So now the qualifier is somebody looking for a provider. So do you know what? If he gives that advice, you're going to find that provider. But that person may not be able to provide the emotional or even the physical safety that you actually need, or the sexual safety that you need, right? So the fact that he whittled it down to provider tells me that he's unbalanced. So I wouldn't ever give anybody advice I would never give any of my daughters or any woman advice to date several people. Now, number 2 is also the question around how do you determine what dating is? Because everybody's idea has to be aligned as to what dating actually is. Because if I'm going to tell any woman that, what I would say to them is have conversations. I didn't say date. I'm not saying date. I'm saying, yeah, have conversations. You need to see what this man's mind is about. Have a conversation. See what his vision is, what his goals are, what his ambitions are. Do they align with yours? You may have several conversations with people at the same time. Don't have to date every single one of them. You know what I mean? So it's really important to really kind of deduce what dating actually means for individual people, because without that, then people will do different things and we miss each other. Do you know what I mean? And then I think the final thing is, the more attuned you are to yourself and what you actually need, the more easier it is to actually find the person you need. So the actual advice we should be giving people is actually to say, go and find out who you are. What do you want and what do you need in your life? That might be a little bit crazy at 18 or 19, but actually, even at 19, if I said to my young daughter, I'd be like, hey, sit down first. What do you actually like? If you don't know what you like, I need you to park the bus. You know what I mean? Because if you don't know what you like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna run on instincts and hormones. And trust me, the hormones, they're wild. Okay, all right. I've been there, and as a young man, and them hormones will take you in different places, and it's understandable because you're young. You know what I mean? So I think that it's Yada likes to play that role, but he plays that role because just like anybody who sells your local drugs around the area, there's a business for it. You know what I mean? There is itchy ears that want to hear some good information like that. Do you know what I mean? But it's just unbalanced. It needs a proper qualifier if you're going to talk about dating and how people should date. So that's all I would say in that regard. But Yada likes to do what Yada do, man. He be tricking all the time, paying two wives extra.
All right, Whitney, what about you? What you got to say?
I'm in the thick of it. I'm dating. Like,
she's dating them all. I'm just like,
I know. I am talking to them all, but here's my thing: is that you treat people how you want to be treated, right? And I truly believe that, and I'm very faith driven, and that's my number one. And I believe in conversation. I don't believe in sleeping with multiple people at one time as far as dating goes. But I definitely believe in kind of what Little Black Book was saying, like conversations. Like, I know what I'm looking for. I spent 10 years in a marriage, and in that marriage, I learned who I am. We grew and we changed, and we grew in separate directions, and I learned what mattered to me. I learned I learned that money comes and goes, and we can lose it and we can get it back together if you're a team. I learned that loyalty matters more to me in any situation, right? Like, when you're one and you're in yoke with that person, like if someone comes for your wife, it's the same thing as they're coming for you. You back that person up, always in public, 100% of the time. And if you want to correct them, you correct them in private. There's just things that I'm I'm locked in. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And one of the things that I have learned in the past year, and I've dated 2 guys kind of seriously in the year or so that I've been divorced, is that you can't settle. And if you see a red flag, you just have to like see it for what it is and walk away. Because I just feel like the right person for you will align and will work. So anyways, you got to give people grace, but you can't settle either. Treat people how you want to be treated.
I like what Little Black Book said about, like, back in the day, remember we used to say, we're talking. Like, remember, you didn't say like we were dating or we were in a relationship. You would just say we're talking. And it's like, what happened to that? It just went from, sex to like sex before cooking, sex before relationship, sex before all this stuff. And it's like, what happened to talking? So when Little Black Book said have the conversation, if that's all you're doing is getting to know people and socializing, of course, do that. But like when you say dating, it implies, to me, it implies a man is spending money on you and that he is like up next to have sex with you is what I'm thinking, because if I brought a guy home to my dad and said, we're dating, that's different than my friend, Billy is coming over. He's going to play basketball or we're going to shoot some pool in the basement. Different vibe than, Billy's coming over to date me. It would be a different vibe. So it's just, I liked when he said, let's have conversations, like, let's get back to talking, and then we'll be able to make better decisions and not say that men are manipulating us or those kinds of things.
Yeah,
also, it's more than, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll go last.
It's more than one conversation. It's like you have to talk to somebody for weeks. And then also something that I've learned is what they're saying because they know that's what you want to hear, or
and does it match their actions? Right.
No, that's what I was gonna say, because the last guy that I dated, everything aligned. Like the first night we met, it was like fireworks, like everything that I said that I wanted, everything, like yes, 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 yes. But then a year later, I was like, well, wait a second. Like you said, you put God first, but you've never once gone to church. Like, wait a second, you said that you're ambitious, but all this like opportunity that you had to fulfill your career, like instead of showing up, you went and played basketball or you went and did something else. So like everything that you told me in the beginning of talking is not aligning with your actions. Right. And so people can tell you what they think you want to hear just to get what they want to get too. So giving yourself that time period to like the weeks of talking and getting to know somebody.
And ladies, if you're out there dating a bunch of men and having them spending money on you and taking a yada flat path to relationship, you're going to live in your wake a bunch of angry men who are going to be on these platforms complaining that women ain't shit. And you have been, seriously, you're going to create what you hate. You're going to be creating the men out there that women complain about. So that's another thing. So dating all these people, men encouraging women to date all these men and having them fight for them, not having proper conversations, not having correct qualifiers, just moving too fast in this situation. That's I agree with right on, Papoose. I agree with you right there. It's bitch ass, Papoose. It's bitch assness. All right, next I just got a question, and I really want. This is gonna be interesting. All right, go ahead, Whitney.
Determining whether or not a woman is worth dating by her body count.
Is it or is it not bitch assness? All right. You know what? I'm gonna go with I can see Rock already got something. I can see the hamster. What's got but I'm not gonna go with her first. And I know where me and Little Podcast have had this. I mean, Little Black Book have had this discussion many a times on many a panels, and we are aligned. So go. I want Jerk. I want you to go ahead with this one.
So you want me to say if this is bitch assness or not? Determining.
Yes.
I would say it isn't. Because somebody's past is important. Yeah. You got to know that to a certain degree. I get it. You might not get the truth, but if you could kind of see it by their, I say, past relationships, you could piece it together and say it's not looking right. Yeah, you need to know that type of stuff.
Okay. How about you, Natty?
I'm like, everybody's got a past, period. Men and women. So I always wonder why this is such a big issue for women and it's never an issue for men. That's my question.
I got a feeling little Black Book on enlighten you on this. We got some stuff.
I'm interested to see why it always ends up being a conversation about women's body count, but people don't have the conversation about men's body count.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to know.
We got you. We got you. Go ahead, Rose.
Determining whether or not a woman is worth dating by her body count. I think it matters. I'm sorry. If you are a young lady who smashed the entire football team, that's a problem. That's a problem. Now, if you dated one basketball player and one football player, maybe not so bad. It like you develop a reputation for yourself when you have too many. Like it's not even just the reputation. Like even if no one saw you doing it, like there are like men can tell. Like there are signs that you give off that shows that you are a woman who has been loose. So I think it matters. It like I'm not gonna. I don't know what the bad number is to a man because I'm a woman. I don't know what the number is, right? And I was kind of taken out the game early, so I didn't have a chance to get out there and have my hot girl summers. I think it matters. And science says that it matters because for a woman, it's harder for her to pair with a man you know, I think that for women, we're more geared to be with like our one lover, our one hubby, like we're not married to 10 guys, we're married to one. We can't get pregnant by 10 men, we can get pregnant by one. But men can get 10 women pregnant at one time. So there has to be a difference because of that. Like, I think that is kind of why the guys aren't looked down upon when they have high body counts versus when we do. Because when we get pregnant and we've had sex with 45 men, it could be one out of any of those 45 men that are our baby's fathers. But if one man is having sex with 45 women, we know who sired their child. You see,
Yeah,
so
you
it's,
have 45 baby mamas. You don't think that's worse than having one baby
well,
daddy?
that's the Bible. That's the Bible. That is religion. That is what everybody is touting as their, breath of what gets them up in the morning. It's God, and God has to be center of my relationship. So if it's all about that, then we have to talk about the Bible. And in the Bible, that is how women were. They were with one man, unless you were another woman in the Bible that people don't talk about in the best way. She has a reputation. So
Didn't Jesus end up marrying?
He didn't marry nobody. He was rocking with Mary Magdalene, I guess.
Yeah, and she was a hooker. Jesus himself was with the hooker.
Well, when I bring up the Bible, I'm talking about the people who started civilization, right? The men who had all the women that they impregnated and they started the land. Like, these are our Bible stories. It was literally men having sex with women.
Also a Bible story, though, and the most perfect man that ever lived was with a hooker.
Right, a hooker and what did Jesus do for all of us because of that hooker?
I mean,
he died for our sins. He died because he wants everybody to aspire to understand that they are just like the hooker. All of us are the hooker in the story.
Right, but the point that I'm making is if body count didn't matter to Jesus, who was the most perfect man that ever lived, if you're speaking biblically, then how would it matter to like a regular man?
So
he was a winner, though, was he?
So then we get into it's a story, and it's not it's loosely based off of like the 10 Commandments. Like it's a story it's like the Snow White story. There's a moral to the story. We want society to live in a certain way. So if that's the case, then throw out the Bible and bring us something else.
All right. Okay. Little Black Buck. Bring us home. Like, help us out. Help us out.
Okay, it's my own personal opinion. I don't think it really matters, if I'm honest with you. I've never asked a body count question apart from when I was probably like 18, and I regret it every single day. I don't know why I did it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know who you had sex with before. I think for me, what's more important is your behaviors now. I observe behaviors and I see if you've got bad boundaries, if you're too friendly with the opposite sex. These are you need to look at behaviors rather than asking questions about how many people they slept with. Because listen, some people out here, they can have some numbers, but they've learned and understood that, listen, boundaries, I need to be able to handle myself correctly, the way I operate. That's what I'm looking for. You can have low numbers, but your ass is you like to flirt in the boundaries and do all sorts of stuff to get attention. You're gonna hurt me more than somebody else who's got a high body count. So for me, I'm looking at that behavior aspect. So yeah, I don't determine whether a woman is worth dating by their body count. I haven't asked that in any woman I've dated. I've watched how they moved. So that's what I would say.
All right.
I want to make it clear that I'm not like justifying like being a hooker, like sleeping around.
I don't think that.
No, we didn't get that.
I did have one who asked me on a date what my body count was, and I ghosted him and blocked him and never spoke to him again, just because that's just a really random question for a grown ass man. And like, I agree with Little Black Book, like whatever I did in my 20s or whatever, like is completely irrelevant to like who I am.
Here's the number, and because of that question, it's gonna stay the number. You know?
We're not adding +1. I can tell you that much.
Well, the jerk is gonna give y'all some pushback, goddamn it, because that body count matters. You asked that question. Listen, I get it. Y'all can look past it. That's y'all, but it ain't nothing wrong if you ask some questions. Because hey, if you gonna make some commit, because body count is sometimes attached to behaviors also. So you gotta keep that in mind. So I get it. It might not work for some people, but I'm like, if you sitting up with somebody and you going down that path and you want a serious relationship, you both need to be transparent about everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, tell that person, be transparent, and let them make their judgment based off of that.
And I'm a.
But damn it, I'm asking. I
I'ma
don't give a damn what anybody says.
I'm gonna answer the prompt, and then I'm gonna answer your question, Natty. All right, why does it count? The prompt is, I don't think it's fine. If your individual value set is saying I have to know this number to feel comfortable with whatever, that's fine if you want to do that individually. But what I don't think you should do is chastise other men where they don't have think the same way. And I think that's what's happening. And it's just like, oh my God, you're okay with your woman? Yeah, I would never be that shoe. That's what I think that I'm not cool with. If you can judge use whatever matrix you want to determine if somebody is a suitable partner for you, but don't sit there and try to put your morality on me. That's when I think I get pissed off in some of these platforms when they try to put their reality. Okay, if you don't want to date the woman with 25 bodies, don't date her. But don't get mad at somebody who's fine with it. That's what I get really pissed off. So I guess I would have to say to consider it. I don't think it's bitch assness. The bitch assness comes when you try to push that morality on other men and have them consider the same thing when they don't already think that. And to answer Natty's question, I was watching the Ask a Brother podcast. He had this guy on it, and the guy kind of said the quiet part out loud. He was like saying, imagine that you was with a woman and she had 20 bodies and they was all dicking her down swell and doing wild, crazy shit. And you come in and you got this, it's just like in the back of those guys' mind, they're thinking, if you had 20 bodies, what is the likelihood I'm in the top 3? Am I closer to the bottom 3? And is that going to bother me that thinking, oh my God, she may have had better, or there may be somebody else she's thinking about while she's with me. All that pair bonding stuff. Yeah, I think that's a part of it. But I think that's if you're currently doing that behavior, like Black Book said, if you're currently engaging in that stuff, then it might be harder to kind of separate, like attach love and commitment and fidelity and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that if a woman detaches sex from love, she has more access to sex than men. So they worry that the woman might just take advantage of it. Oh, we mad at you? John from the job, take me to dinner, and next thing you know, I'm smashing John from the job. So those are the things that's the quiet part that a lot of cats won't tell you. I think that a lot of them are worried about their place in that count. If they measure up, there's a lot of insecure dudes who will measure. And if you still engaged in that type of mentality, you may be open to other guys or guys. If something go wrong, you may be open to giving access to other men or what have you. Because I'm a firm believer in that it's not a number question at all. I think it's a behavior question. Because if I went to I'll go to since you care, Jerk, I'll ask you. For somebody, not for you, but for your son, and I can't believe I'm doing this because when people do this, I like laugh in their face. If your son came to you and said that he was dating a woman with 40 body counts, even though I've never had that conversation with my dad, and I don't think nobody has ever had a conversation with their parent. If they having that conversation, then they already have their answer. But if he comes and says, I'm dating this woman or whatever, and she has this high body count or what have you, and she says it's 20, are you going to say is it'll be based on your morality if that's too much?
Yeah. So yeah,
You
if he
know?
came to me and said that after I punched him in his chest and he gains his breath, I'm gonna like find somebody else.
And the thing is, like I said, if you go say, oh, I dated a woman that had 20 men, but she's 35. This happened in her 20s, and since she got married at 27 and was with the same dude over and over again, so she really hasn't slept with anybody other than her ex-husband and me in 7-8 years. But when she was younger, she kind of was out there partying and had a 20 or 30 people. You know, that's different for saying, oh, I met a woman with 5 as her body count, but she was married for 20 years, got out of it, and she had a foursome with 4 guys last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it really about the number, or is it about the behavior?
It's about
The behavior.
I think it's both. Because, like, don't get me wrong. Like, if the number matters to a certain degree, man, but you can't be ridiculous with it. Because, like, if I'm 46, so if I go and get with somebody that's 46, I'm not expecting them to have no clean slate. So I think that's where people get ridiculous. But if you got some real high number, it's like, damn, what was you doing in your past? You know what I'm saying? That's where you got to connect them pieces. So like you said, it is behavior, but it's also like a super high number. It's like, damn, you ain't want to study or nothing. Did you eat lunch? You was just out here just getting your back blown out? Like, so yeah, I mean.
Do you think she forgets about her best D? Do you think that because 5 or 10 or 15 years pass that she doesn't think about that big D that she loved so much? You think she forgets about that?
But I'll say this, right?
What do you think? What do you think about the 10? What do you think about the 10 or 15 good Ds that she got? Do you think that she don't think about them?
Most women don't have 10 or 15,
right?
And that's not according to stats.
Right.
Most women in the UK or most women in
US
America?
and UK, there's an orgasm gap, so there ain't gonna be 10 or 15 Ds that she gonna enjoy. That's for sure.
Wow. What universe are you in? What women do you talk to? What women do you talk to that say they can't take 15 good Ds? What women do you talk to that say that?
No, that's the stats.
No, they would love that, but he's saying it doesn't happen. Like 15 dudes,
it doesn't happen. If you
don't
actually women, it doesn't happen.
If a woman had 20
really
dudes, maybe 6 of them gave him good D. You know?
6 out of the 300, six out of the 30.
What happened here? You didn't report
6 out of the 300, 6 out of the 30. Because we're talking about women in their let's just say if it was a 25-year-old college girl, do you think 300 is a number that is too high for her? You don't think that a 25-year-old could get to 300 body count?
Yeah, but then there's some
wait. I'm asking Black Book, little Black Book. Do you think that a 25-year-old college student could not take 300 Ds by 25?
We live in a different universe. Maybe from the UK because we don't have the same system as Americans, but you're not getting 300 in by 25.
So from 18 to 25, you don't think that a woman could get to 300?
Most people are not even getting 30. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Most people are not even getting to 30. A lot of people are not getting. They're not getting in. A lot of people are not getting in like that.
But I see what's going on. Little Black, she's talking about, but physically, could a woman do it? Of course they can. But
yeah, of course.
Is it happening?
Guys, you're talking
about stats.
These ladies are in college. They're going from college to college, university. 100 bodies for a young lady is not very hard to get in 1 year. And if you do 4 years in college, how many Ds is that? For somebody to say that the number doesn't matter, but the women aren't married, the numbers are going down, right? The marriage numbers are going down because feminism and having sex whenever you want is going up, but nobody's getting married. They're all just screwing each other and trying to find the next person to screw or screw over. And you guys are saying that it doesn't matter, but it does because it reflects in the numbers. So whether you care about it or not, they're not marrying each other.
Right. What I'm saying is, what you're talking about is current behavior. You're saying if a woman is out doing that, yes, I think there's something going on with her that she needs some serious professional help with. If she is of the mind that, hey, I'm getting 100 by my first year in college, there's something significantly wrong with her, and she is absolutely not ready for a relationship. So nobody should be considering her relationship, because there's a whole lot of healing and work she got to do before
But this
she can
lady
become
turns 30. She turns 30. This lady turns 40 and she's still not married. That body count didn't matter.
But what I'm saying is if this woman, which and we're going to use your number, but I think as a whole, what people are doing, that's the numbers grossly inflated as far as what's actually happened. There might be a small subsection or small what you call that's doing, because on average women aren't getting 100 bodies. It's just not happening. You know, on average they're getting 14. I think that's what they said nowadays, that women's bodies accounts are at, or whatever like that. Men are like 30. Men who are having sex are like 30. Women are having like 14 or something. Mm-hmm. But it's just but let's just use that number. If that woman is actually doing that, she's not in a position where she should be considered for a relationship, because she's got a lot of serious healing to do, and a lot, not just mentally, maybe even physically, to do to be ready for a relationship. So if this woman at her 20 did that, and then she did all the work 10 years from now, and then she was a totally different person, maybe she found religion and she just totally turned herself around, divested from all the things that promoted that behavior, divested from the people who supported that behavior, gave up any vices that may have allowed her to do that behavior, and she she's totally changed her life. And I think, yes, this woman deserves the opportunity to have a relationship with somebody, and it's up to that man to determine whether or not who she is now supersedes who she might have been at 25. If she's 35 now, 10 years later, supersedes, okay, she does all these other things for me, but she just let 100 guys hit in her 20s or whatever. That's an individual choice. But what I would never do is tell that dude, yeah, you gotta judge her for that, or you need to be a Christian, or you need to not date that woman. I'll be like, you need to just make sure you're aware of what might come with that, because if she hasn't fully healed, there might be some blowback that you might catch down the line.
You've said a word a couple of times, and I want to tap into it. You've said healed. So let's talk about hypersexuality in young women and what causes it. Right? So let's talk about sexual abuse in families. Let's talk about, I don't know what your guys' backgrounds are, but young women with stable, my daughter will not be hypersexual because I am a mom that is present, that is stable, and that is openly having those conversations with my daughter, right? However, there are women who have had childhoods where their moms watched their boyfriends rape their daughters. There are women where this stuff happened, and so then through their young teens and through their 20s, they were hypersexual because that's what they were exposed to. And then when they had to mentally and emotionally develop, they had to heal and figure out who they were. So it's not always like, hey, they just woke up in their 20s and their college and decided to be these crazy party girls, right? Sometimes they were sold for sex at young ages. There's things. And so you have to give credit and you have to give grace to women who had the power to come through that stuff and heal and grow and become a woman that was like, oh, wait, hold on. And then make sure that those generational curses were broken as well. So it goes a lot deeper than, oh, these girls were just hoes. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of things that go and that play into those scenarios. And there are situations where girls are just straight hoes. It is what it is, right?
But there's always that, like you said, there's always that X behind it. There's always that X factor behind it.
And so there's also you said healing a few times, and there's a lot of healing that take place.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, Papoose, you'll be wrong if you said I don't think judging a woman by her body count is necessarily bitch assness. I think that forcing that on somebody else and putting your values on somebody else, I think then you can say bitch assness. So, that was a good topic. Anybody got anything to say?
I do got a question for Dane and Little Black Book. So I know you guys ain't gonna ask, and that's straight. Like you guys said, I don't think anybody should push their stuff on anybody else. But say like your friend came up to you is like, hey, that girl that you're about to talk to, she's been around the block, man. She found God though. She changed her ways, but she got a high body count. Y'all still will move forward with her, based on what your friends told you.
Yeah. If she like, hold on. The fact is, I did ask my wife, so I'm not even gonna front. But and it was a number I was completely comfortable with. So is what you call it. But but some people might not be comfortable with, but I was completely comfortable with it. Yeah. But it's just like, sometimes one is too many for some guys, two is too many without marriage is too much for some guys. But that person, if my buddy came to me and said, hey, oh, she had a past. And he was my buddy, he probably knows my past. I'm like, well, I had a past too. So why is my past less of a hindrance than her past? Whereas her past more of a hindrance than mine is. I'm like, why is that? Why does that dynamic exist? I don't care. Like when somebody says,
so if she was hooking on the streets, if she was hooking
she went to the extreme. We can't do the extreme. But
I have to go to the extreme because everybody's playing patty cake with the scenario. The scenario isn't always that cookie cutter, perfect number kind of thing. What if your wife would have said 4,000, or she would have been like some Bonnie Blue lady, the lady that tried to do 1,000 guys in one day? Like,
she did.
Women, okay, so they're women. So they're women like that. That's why I picked the number 300. I was just thinking because the first girl that tried to do it got up to 500, and then the Bonnie Blue lady got up to 1,000. Either way, it's gross, but women can do it. They can totally do it. So I have to go, like, if we're always going to stick to the cookie cutter, then I have to bring it to the bottom of the gutter, because that is what's out here too. That's part of the dating market.
But that's like the you want to make the argument based on you want to let the thin of it
probability
affect the thick of it. The thin of it is 2% of what you're saying. Let's focus on the 98% that ain't got 1,000 pounds, because that's more. Because most likely you will encounter the 98%, not the 1.8.07.0% that you might have the Bonnie Blues out there. And she's already laid her bed, and so anybody who gets with that, they know what it is. But I'm gonna bet you $1 million she stopped doing porn, she'll have a man a year later.
She already has a man. She already has a man. A wealthy man too. Like,
but the thing is, it ain't on me to judge that man.
Of course, but when we're having these conversations, it's like, who are you? Are you the man that does it? Or are you the man that doesn't do it? And if you are the man that does it, why are you doing it? Or if you are the lady that is like 300 on the carousel, why are you doing it? And if those are the behaviors that you are doing and you want a relationship and you're not in one, then you got to start like plugging and playing that this behavior that you're doing might be the reason why you're not getting this result. And I work in public health, so I see a lot of crazy stuff. I see a lot of crazy numbers, and the most crazy numbers I see are from people over 45. So we're right now we're just talking about young people, but older people do egregious things on cruise ships.
You're preaching to the choir. I say hallelujah. We're preaching to the choir. We agree that those people who do engage in any type of recreation, whether it's hypersexuality, whether it's drug use, whether it's abuse, people need to do the work to heal and get past that. And society will, some people will be different, but most of society will see a significant amount of time from the trespass. You can't say, oh, I did it last week and I'm done. But no, because that's not enough. Realistically, people don't heal that fast, and it's a deeper amount of work you need to do. So, but if they say, I was 25 and I did something, and now I'm 35 and I have no association with that. And I always tell this story. not because call it, back when I was like in the clubs and stuff like that, I was around some whores. I'm not talking about sluts. I'm talking about here money on the dresser, and all of them married now. All of them married. You go on Instagram, all of them married, living in houses and stuff like that, soccer moms, all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't even think about it. You were like, her? And it's just the thing. It's because it's possible if you divest and do the work to disassociate yourself from all that stuff. If you really want to do it, just like me, I had to disassociate myself from being that deep into the party scene in order to become the kind of man that could be there, the kind of man that my wife would want to be with, and that my daughter can look at and be like, that's a good man. If I find a man, well, my daughter's gay, so she won't find a man. But if she find a good woman or whatever,
partner, she still you have great attributes you would want her to see in a partner. Yeah. So no, I'm really just being contrarian because I like the back and forth, and I know the audience does too. I'm a stepmom. There the certain things that I've been through, like I can say, like, I walk the walk, like you say you have a stepfather. I was a stepmom. My situation is not a bed of roses over here. And the child is 25, like we all have things like, I'm in no way, I changed 1,000 times. I got married at 25. I'm 44. I tell young ladies all the time, like, there are things that I regret: tattoos, piercings, certain hairstyles, certain people I dated in my past. My husband works with my ex-boyfriend's twin brother. These are all awkward things, Yeah. So and I'm just up here to make the conversation a little bit spicy and give you a little pushback. But you did say a little something egregious too. You said a woman that just got divorced was in a foursome. So I thought going low, we could go
that's true.
But, that's a good point.
Okay. Touche.
But I got one more question based on what you said, Dame. So the guy that got with Bonnie Blue, the one that, would you think like something's wrong with his mindset for getting with her if she like detached? You wouldn't be like something's got to be off with him?
No, he's just got a different mindset. He just got a different mindset, better value set than me. Some people have different mindset.
I think there's something wrong with him in this moment. If she's still on those behaviors, I think there's something.
Yeah, she's still doing it. Yeah, she's still doing it.
Oh, if she decides that she changes and she turned her life around, etc., then all right, cool. I can, you know what I mean? Like, it's on you to observe and make sure those behaviors are genuinely changed. But some people genuinely don't change. Like a Brittany Renner hasn't changed. She keeps telling us she changed, but she ain't changing. The behaviors are the same because of trauma. She hasn't dealt with it. It's not actually about the sex. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so that's why I said, like, for me, I've never asked any of my partners what their body count is. I'm really trying to see what your behavior is. Like, I need to be able to assess what kind of movement you have and how you move. And my thing also is this: who's to say that you're going to tell me the truth? When we were younger, we used to have a thing called magic number, and none of the girls had their magic number too. So there's no way you're going to tell me this. And now, of course, when we're much older, you might say a nice, comfortable number. Oh, yeah, I've been in 4 relationships, so at least that's 4. And then obviously, I've had a couple of things here and there. I'm at 8. And so what? All right, cool.
I don't count that guy in Jamaica.
You know what I mean? So there's no point even me even trying to ask that question, because some people are gonna lie because of shame. I'm just like, listen, I gotta watch how you move and see if you're some way. But I understand why some people do, because it's part of the qualifiers. But I've learned, for me, it doesn't qualify anything, because I used to lie too. As man, we used to lie. We used to be like, yeah. You know what? I used to do the reverse. So man, they'll go high, I go low. It's like, yeah, I'm on 2, I'm on 1. My last girlfriend, that was it. You know what I mean? I'm on 5, but I'm a changed man now, guys. I'm changed. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't tell the truth. But
all right, so, like I said, it's not necessarily bitch assness, so I'm not going.
Okay.
Papoose, you don't get to come up in this thing, but I got one more for you guys.
I still think y'all lying, but we'll move forward.
But you'll never know. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm gonna ask this one. Now, this one had the internet on fire. Now, this is gonna probably be divisive, and I'm hoping it is because this was an interesting one. I'll play this one for you guys.
Originally supposed to do a group game night and everybody bailed, so we were just going to go do a game night ourselves. I then asked him if he wanted to go run some errands with me instead. We do the errand stuff. Of course, it's my errands, so I'm really the only one buying anything. I don't get that much stuff, but I've got a good enough size bag and had walked about 20 minutes to the store, so we have to walk about 20 minutes back. The bag is kind of heavy. This dude, he's a big, muscular dude. I'm not exactly like a big muscular woman. And I just said, can you please carry this? Oh, this is where a lot of people are going to be divided. I'd be like, well, of course, it's your bag. Why would he carry it? It's fair enough. And that was exactly his reasoning. For me, it immediately killed the mood because I wasn't looking at this as an expectation that he had to do it. I asked because we are trying to be friends and he's stronger than I am. When we were talking it out, he said, oh, I would do that for a girlfriend, but I wouldn't do that for just anyone. I'd do that for someone special. I don't understand the concept of doing nice things for people only in a particular situation. The fact that he said, what were you going to give me in return is a really weird question to pose on someone when you've just met them. His other answer was that he just didn't want to be taken advantage of, to which I said, you would feel taken advantage of because you would carry someone's bag? Well, you know, some girls are like that. They want you to carry their stuff, they want you to buy stuff for them. But this is getting even more confusing for me because I didn't ask you to buy anything. I simply just asked if you could carry this for me. What was also really hurtful about that is immediately he was thinking tit for tat when friendships shouldn't be founded off of that. Yes, I did ask for something early on. You also have the right to ask for something that you find is equally reciprocal, as equally rewarding for you. Why not just give that an opportunity first before jumping to the conclusion that this person is going to use you or take advantage of you? Like, why would you even attempt to be friends with that person in the first place? Shouldn't we be starting off with some foundation of trust, some foundation?
Is that bitch assness? And if so, on whose part? So I want to get Natty in here to jump in and give her a take on this.
My eyes. Petty as fuck for both of them. That's all I have to say. Because if a random person walking down the street asks me to carry their fucking bags, I'm gonna carry your bags. You know what I mean? Like, they're both petty. Dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
Done. That's all.
Jerk, what you got?
It was definitely bitch assness on his part, because it sounded like he really wanted to smash, but he went to do the errands with her in guise of like friend zone type stuff. Then that's where that back and forth came. So he really was attracted to her and liked her, but then it started playing out. She asked him to carry the bag. That's when he started going into the, oh, I'm not only gonna do that for a girlfriend. So yeah, it was bitch assness, because he should have just been direct with her, like, hey, I'm feeling you, you know, listen, I want to talk to you, whatever. And it probably would have resolved a lot of that. She would have been like, no, then he could have went his way and not try to pretend to be her friend.
What about you, Whitney?
Why would I want to be your girlfriend after that? Like, my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old boys hold doors for, like, they were taught, like, you hold the door for your sister, you hold the door for the stranger, you hold the door for the elderly woman. I'm a princess. I'll stand at the car door till you open it for me, and if you don't open it, we're not going. Like, I'm a princess, but that is reciprocated. So those are my expectations.
Black Book, what you got for us? I saw you doing a lot of nodding and pointing, and seriously, what we got for me, brother?
You know, I can see why he could be the problem, but I'm gonna say this: she the motherfucking problem. You, first and foremost, if you went shopping and you were going by yourself, you would have carried those bags. So I don't know why you switched it all of a sudden that he has to carry them bags. Sometimes people can also see that you got a bit of a user spirit in you, right? And so it could be that he wants her. I wouldn't dismiss that, and most times it is actually that. But I also say as well, she's not a fool. She's nobody's fool. You telling me you didn't clock him that he likes you? You didn't clock that nothing that was happening? I'm not saying guys don't lie and pretend to be your friend. I ain't saying those things at all. But you tell me you didn't clock in the way his energy was, and he weren't feeling you, and then you wanted to drop your bag on him so he can carry it. If you were walking alone, you'd have carried your bag. So why does he need to carry it? And then you thrown in the little extra, but he's muscular and tall. Baby girl, carry your load. Who told you to go and buy more shopping than you can carry? You would have carried it anyway. You'd have found a way. So I don't know. I'm a little bit like, I can see where the man is coming from, and I'm saying I think he is, but I think August says Natty said it. I think they're both playing a little bit of a game here. If I'm really honest with you, I think they're both playing a game in this aspect. She knows exactly what she's doing in that space.
Yep.
Rock.
I think it was a shit test. He was shit testing her, and she was shit testing him. And then you heard what she said. When he didn't carry the bag, the mood was ruined. So she wasn't trying to bed him when she got back from the store, and he ruined the vibe. So it's like, you shouldn't have went to the store with her, because that was her way to shit test you. You should have just said, I'll stay with the dog, or I'll come back later. You would have never had that situation coming back from the store, and you would have got her cakes, and it would have worked out better. But definitely, I think I agree with Natty on both sides. They're both being petty for the shit tests.
Yeah, I think, and I'm right there with y'all. So you said I think both of them were displaying a level of bitch assness. Number one, for her, just to post that story is just bitch assness. I mean, to try to make him seem like a jerk, because it's always just going to be one-sided. You don't know if he was like, no, you, just like how you said, no, you carried all that stuff, you strong, you can do it, like jokingly, but he was like, hell nah, bitch, get your own bag, woman, he was just like,
he wanted to get on there and play the victim.
Yeah, so it's just like, but and the thing is, but I know just how I was raised. If I say, okay, if I go out with a friend or whatever, and then she say, hey, this is kind of heavy, would you mind helping me by carrying it? I did, yeah, no problem. I'll carry the bag, not a big deal. And I would have just carried the bag.
I feel like they should just offer.
But and it's the same too. Like if I see you struggling and stuff like that, I'm gonna be like, damn, those bags look heavy. I'm just gonna be like, go give me, I'm gonna do it in a jokingly. Give me that, your weak ass. Give me the those bags or whatever, and I carry it because you slowing us down, or something like, I would have been jokingly and sarcastic, but I would have done it or what have you. I think the fact that she was so offended by it is the part that I think is the bitch assness, because a man can say no, I don't want to, and fine, she could be like, fine, shout out to No Saying. What's up, brother? You can say fine and have every right to say it, and she should say, okay, that doesn't align with what I think the kind of the man I want to date, so I'm not going to date you. You don't get on internet and try to make them look bad to everybody. It's like, oh, I'm not going to say his name. You didn't say his name, but everybody who know him gonna know it was him. So it's just one of those things where I think that his excuses for it was kind of bitch asses too. Like, oh, women take advantage of men, and they want us to buy you stuff. And she's like, I ain't actually buying me nothing. I'm just saying this thing is heavy. Can you help me with it? I think both of them displayed equal and congruent levels of bitch assness in that situation. And little Black Book is disagreeing. I don't care. I think that for her to sit there and not accept that he has the right to say no, no, thank you, I don't want to thing, and then try to besmirch his character on the internet, I think is bitch assness. But for him to not just be a gentleman about it and just be like, hey, okay, no, fine, we 20-minute walk carrying this bag for you ain't gonna kill me, so yeah, I chose to be a part of what you're doing, so why wouldn't I help you out in a little bit if I could? So that's that. And what is your say, Little Black Book?
I'm not. You know what? I'm just. I'm just. But no.
No,
I
I don't
think.
know. That's what I'm asking.
Just playing. I think these scenarios. Again, I'm being biased because obviously I'm choosing man. I think the fact, and I think Smell Rosa said it correctly, right? The fact that she said it was a mood killer is why I said that this thing is. If someone, and when sometimes you clock something, you can still look like the bad person. If you know it's going to be a mood killer, which means that your mindset's already somewhere. Sometimes your energy precedes you before you do something. So you're asking me to carry your bags, but you're actually really testing me in that moment. You're really kind of, and your energy is going to show that. You may think to yourself, oh, I'm playing him. I'm going to be testing him, and not recognizing that you've just come across like a douche. You know what I'm saying to you? And now you come to tell us a story on the internet like you the victim of, as if this man wasn't here being chivalrous. No, I'm not gonna be chivalrous either when you playing games with me. You know what I'm saying to you? You trying to test me. I'm gonna look at you like you're crazy too. Carry your bag. You're moving mad here. So yeah, for me personally, I can't lie to you. But again, like I said, I don't know. I'm not in that situation because first and foremost, I don't do friend zone. You know what I mean? It's either I'm trying to make something happen or nothing's happening. You know what I mean? And I don't take a middle ground and be like, oh, I'm gonna be your friend. Like, you know what I'm saying to you? I don't do that kind of stuff. So this thing of you now giving your bag to me, I'm not about to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I know my intentions are going into the situation. So if you hand me your bag, I'm going to take your bag. You know what I'm saying to you? But I would say this for anybody in general. If you're going to test anybody, just be ready because people are going to fail tests. Okay? Because that's the whole point of a test. People can fail it. You know what I'm saying to you? So if you're going to be testing people, just be ready that it may not go the way you want it to go. And number two, if you get called out, they'll now start playing victim like he wasn't trying to do nothing. You know what I mean? Because you done got played and called out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just like he like I said, the explanations and oh, I'm worried about taking advantage and stuff like that. I mean, that pushed it over the bitch assness fence for me. Like, come on, man. I'm like, then don't be played. Like, don't buy her nothing. You know, like there's these tropes on these platforms that I've been on that women are taking all this shit from men. Women are just, we want your money, we want you this, we want you that, we want you that. I can honestly say no woman has ever taken anything from me that I didn't give. Money, time, whatever. No one has said, give me your money. I'll be like, okay, shit, here's my wallet, take it. It's been like, it's been, I wanted to give something to you and you received it. And then I'm not going to get mad at you for you take what I'm giving. And I'm hearing a lot of that. It's like, well, women shouldn't be taking money from men. I actually was on a platform where it said women shouldn't be taking money from men they aren't married to. I'm like, well, men should not be giving money to women that they ain't married to. It shouldn't be offering it to women that they ain't married to. What are we talking about here? Like, I was just like, how does that make sense? It was like, if anybody going to take what somebody's offering, it's just
dating world thing where guys just like randomly Venmo or Cash App you. I am new to it, and like at the beginning of it, I was like, "Well, this is really weird." Like, no, I'm not going to take your money. But now I'm just like, "Cool, thanks for the Cash
App."
Go ahead,
I can actually speak to a situation when I was younger, like way back in the day, like 18, when I was dating somebody, and he literally handed me his credit card and was like, anything you want. And we're at the mall. Like, I was like, are you sure? Like, what's your limit? He told me the limit. Like, you could spend whatever you want. And I could not take myself to do it. But that's where we get into people's character. Just because a man is offering, if you haven't been dating very long, or if it's awkward, or if you for whatever reason, you really don't like that person. It doesn't matter if they want to spend it on you. If it's a reflection of your character. If you're taking money from people, and like I had dudes trying to give me cars and this and that, and I never took anything from anybody that I couldn't do for myself.
You're a baddie.
Like I've never taken anything from anybody that I couldn't do for myself, period. Or if we had a fallout, I couldn't give it back to you. I couldn't pay you back for it. Like I've never put myself in a position where somebody had me bent over a barrel and I'm indebted to them, or I got to feel some kind of way. So I think it all just comes back to not necessarily social media being the problem, or guys being the problem, or girls being the problem. Is specific people who have bad character.
What the way I'm framing it as far as this conversation is, what social media can do is, normally, if like back in when me and Jerk, we walk into like the body, we've got the young cat. It's like, oh my God, this woman is like, took my money. I offered her $100. She took it and she just went off with another guy or whatever. We as the OGs would be like, well, your dumb ass shouldn't have gave her them, offered her the money.
Yeah, that's facts.
I bet you won't do that again. But what social media allows people to do is get with a group of other dudes with gripes and be like, yeah, she took my money too. So there's none of that correction and none of that accountability. Like, what was your role in her getting your money? It's like a dude like, yeah. So all these women must be bad if they're taking all our money. There's nobody who's sitting up there saying, nah, bro. There's not the OG or the seasoned guy saying, nah, man, young man, you gave her the money. Charge it to the game. Just let it go. Don't sit there and think she's a bad person for taking what you offer. Because I guarantee you, if a woman you weren't into, like you were, like if it's Rasputia or Precious liked you and wanted to give you some money to get you a car, you'd be taking that money. And any dudes who say that wouldn't is full of shit. Well, older dudes, but any young dude who say they wouldn't take that money is full of shit. They would take it from men. They will allow women to use money as well as to get past the barrier entry.
Like I've had guys like in the last 6 months, like randomly just like cash out me like $100. And like at first I was like, was that an accident? Like, let me send this back to you really quick. Like what, like, why are you randomly sending me money? Like you don't have to do that. It was weird. They were like, no, like I meant to send you that, or like, no, like here's, just woke up, like here's $30, like go get iced coffee or like whatever. Just thinking it's weird. And like at first I was like, no, like I'm not taking it, I'm sending it back. And now I'm just like, whatever, thanks. I don't owe you anything. I didn't ask you for anything.
I'm gonna tell you this, Whitney. That's why they say don't take the free Jello in prison. Because it's always going to come with some shit. Even if it's not, you never see that person. That person just feel like I've bought a ticket to the Whitney show.
Well, I didn't how they even get my cash out. Like I didn't get my cash out.
A season pass to the Whitney show.
Whitney, you keep playing around and you take that money, they're going to show up to your house butt naked with a pizza.
They don't have my address. They don't even know.
Hot and ready. Hot and ready. Get it while it's hot.
You don't send these dudes your address. You got to know me 6 months before. I have kids that live at my house.
Anybody who will send you unsolicited money that you don't know, those are the people who find your address.
Yes, they will.
Those are the people who find out where you work. And you are a high profile person in Las Cruces. You have a magazine, you do promotions, you always out in doing stuff. They can find you. You would not be hard to find if somebody would.
Oh, Whitney out here famous? Yeah, they got you. They could be in your bushes. Like there she goes. She done took my cash app.
I mean, seriously.
They sent it.
Send it back, Whitney. Be like, look.
I've sent it like the first 5 times I sent it back, or like where you just don't accept it. Like on Cash App, I just won't accept it because you have to accept it on Cash App. So I've never accepted it
I do the same thing. If you send me a Cash App that's too big, it's like you send me a Cash App for my stream for $5. Cool. But once you start getting past like $300, $500, I can't justify that to my husband for a stream.
Mr. Rose gonna have to kick somebody to sleep.
That's weird. So I just ignore. I just don't accept it. Yeah. I try not to be rude. I do say thank you on the stream, but I don't know. Like you can buy me coffee. I like how people say buy me coffee. Like that's but
yeah.
Golly, that $300, that's like,
Yeah. But that's where Dame is correct. Because it's just like, man, I do blame guys a little bit more for this dynamic. The yada effect is because, man, they sit out here, they do all this stuff, and then they will go and complain. And so, yeah, I agree with Dame, where it's like, man, if you put yourself in that dynamic, man, you're at fault because ain't nobody forcing you to do it and stuff. So, yeah, that's crazy. I'm listening. I'm like, shit. Y'all getting all them cash apps? Guys, we get no love.
Seriously.
I can't even get like 25 cents sent to me.
Seriously.
Be sending you cash apps, okay? I'll send you cash apps. I'm gonna
I'm
subscribe
good.
to you. Every time you get one, I want to hear a little drop for me. You know, like a little noise.
Man. Let me see if I got one more because these are good. What have you? I think I got a couple more.
But just on that last one, while you pulling up something, I have to get the guy a little bit more because when he was explaining the dynamic, he understood that he could be used and he still went there like on the friend zone scene. And I like what Little Black Book said. It's just like, man, you never even put yourself in the friend zone. So if he knew those dynamics, that's why I was like, he's a little bit more bitch assness than the female because she also had that entitlement. And if she's that entitled, that you could spot that like when you're just having regular conversations. The friends group probably knew that. So yeah, he was trying to be slick.
He knew that before he said yes.
I mean, because he knew all the rest of the people fell out, so he wanted to kick it.
Yeah.
So
he was fine with it before he showed. Like he knew what he was getting into. He agreed. He went in full.
Yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with you guys. Y'all want to get serious for a minute and talk about like the different types of masculinity that I'm finding are being promoted out on the internet. Let's talk about that for a minute. Then I'm gonna let y'all go. We're gonna rock out there for a little bit, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. What have you? Number one, the one I'm hearing the most about is red pill masculinity. Go ahead. Do you want to read that, Whitney? Because if I read like a kid, go ahead.
Hold on. What's the word after string? Because it's blocked. Can I move that?
Oh shoot. Let me get rid of that. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, the red pill view of masculinity centers on status, strength, emotional restraint, traditional roles, and competitive self-improvement, justified through a particular interpretation of evolutionary psychology and skepticism toward modern cultural norms. The most common criticisms are that red pill masculinity is overly rigid and biologically reductionist, encourages emotional suppression, frames relationship in terms of power rather than partnership, or overgeneralizes about women, can be psychologically unhealthy or socially divisive.
Yeah. So, and that's the one that we see a lot is like this red pill masculinity where it's kind of like a, women are something to be conquered, not something to be in a congruent kind of interdependent relationship with. It's like you dominate, you run things, you manage things, or what have you. And I understand that some people enjoy traditional relationship roles, but this one is more, I feel like it's more of subjugation than it is of cooperation or coordination. So anybody got anything to say? I know that, Rock, you kind of align with a few of them. Some of them I know you realize are like outdated and stuff. Like any of those philosophies that you feel kind of are beneficial to men nowadays?
It's hard to answer the question because I feel like it is because I keep having this conversation about what the red pill is, and it's supposed to just be the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think that the truth is hard to swallow from both sides. Like it's hard for the women to hear the truth about themselves, and it's hard for the men to hear the truth about themselves. Like we were just talking about giving money and taking money, like men that are just willy-nilly just sending out cash apps are probably considered bad for the group, for y'all, right? But good for the group for women. So it's just I don't like the reductionist. My problem with the red pill. I mean, it's nice. Yeah, it's like, ooh, yeah, I can go get a wallet with that $300 or, whatever I want. David Yurman. Yeah, but it's like, that there's something attached. And to the comment, the guy that just made the comment, like you don't want those like weird pictures that come to you in the middle of the night. So that's what we're trying to avoid. Like we're trying to avoid that. So that's why we want them, but we don't. But I don't like the reductionist, and I don't like the the caveman aspect of it. The what's his name?
Andrew Tate's in
the Andrew Tate part of it. I don't like that. Yes, I want my husband is very stand on your square. When I say no, it's no. Don't try to manipulate me. That's not going to work, because I'm a woman. I do things, that are woman like. It doesn't miss me. I'm emotional, all the things. So I think it's hard for us to hear the truth, whether male or female, but I do not agree with, the women are the lesser. I don't agree with that. We are not the same and we are different, but we bring something as equal to the table, although they aren't the same things as what you all bring to the table. So when guys start leaning into that reductionist, you are lesser than me, you have to do what I tell you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that is not the red pill I subscribe to.
Cool. Little Blackwood, what are you doing? What do you got to say? I don't think I've ever heard your opinion of the whole red pill philosophy.
For me, there are some truths to what red pills say, right? I think there are some truths, but like I always say, my favorite word is it lacks nuance, it lacks balance, and that is always going to be a problem. Right? So like my first introduction to red pill was a couple of years ago, and I remember there was a woman actually talking about it, and she was talking about how women are hypergamous, right? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then she went and said something else, and I was like, where's the balance? Like now it just sounds like all women are just gold diggers and just want your money. And that's not been my experience or observation between men and women. So I think with red pill, what I would say is that there is a lot of universal truths that I think a lot of us people have actually probably had conversations before red pill was a thing, right? But when you have a conversation and you grow in knowledge and understanding, you tend to have a more balanced perspective because you have an array of experiences or at least knowledge from different areas to counteract some of the things that have been said, right? So when we say things like people hit the wall at 30, I understand what they mean by hitting the wall at 30, right? There generally is an aspect of people actually mentally feeling like they've hit a wall at 30 and thinking to themselves, right, my life's got to change, right? As young people, we used to say when you hit 30, your life is pretty much over. I used to feel like when you hit 30 and you're like, blood, there's a whole life to live. At 30, I still feel young at 30. So for me, it's always about balance and nuance. I think if you tell a story and you give stats, you have to be able to tell the undercurrent or the underbelly of that story. You cannot just give me something surface and not give the rest of the story, because what you end up doing is actually robbing people. So for me, what I find in red pill, it becomes harmful because a lot of people that are teaching it, the reason why they're even teaching it is because I honestly think a lot of them on the spectrum. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think them on the spectrum. I think a lot of them on the spectrum, and I tell you why I think them on the spectrum, because they take everything literal. You know, if you've ever worked with people that are on a spectrum, like I remember when I do my interviews for certain reality TV stars, what I started noticing is that some people are very literal. So like if you tell a boy, like tell one of your guys, hey bro, look, when you get to a girl, tell her something funny, break the ice, blah blah blah. He will literally go and find the most corniest joke, break it down, and then it doesn't work. And he's like, why'd you tell me that to make it work? And he's like, he's not deeped it. When I say go and make a joke, you also have the timing. You have to make sure this is the right kind of moment. Like, did you choose the wrong moment to do this? Like, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking, do it by the book, and it works. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. And normal human beings recognize there is nuance to everything that we do. So that's what I would say about the red pill situation. I'm not the greatest fan of it. I think it's reductive a lot of times. It doesn't add all the nuances.
I agree. I feel like to me, it's one of those situations. There's an old saying, the devil mixes lies with truth. I think that's one of the things that I kind of get from it. It was like, there's a lot of truths in what can be said as far as, some of it, but I think there's a lot of nuance and context that are being intentionally left out as far as how to proceed. Like, yeah, it's always great to get yourself in shape, get your money right or what have you like that. But that's not going to be the only determining factor whether or not you get in a healthy relationship. That's going to be not if women find you attractive, so don't lean on that, because they're going to people like, okay, I spent 2 years in the gym and I made all this money and women still don't like me. Well, you're still a dork, it's just like, you're just a dork that's got muscles and money now. I mean, there's a lot of self-development that's getting left out, I feel like, in that in that philosophy. So yeah, that's why I think that form of masculinity that's put out there, I think is more detrimental to Turner. So, if I was gonna, if what do you think, Papoose?
Death, bitch ass niggas.
Yeah, so that is. All right. Next is another offshoot of it, Black Pill. Whitney, if you don't mind.
The Black pill community, an offshoot of incel and manosphere spaces, frames masculinity in an extremely deterministic, pessimistic, and often self-defeating way. It is more fatalistic than the red pill and centers almost entirely on genetics, appearance, and biological determinism. The most common criticisms are that the Black pill masculinity, defined by physical attractiveness, deeply pessimistic about the male agency, centered on the belief that dating outcomes are predetermined, marked by hopelessness rather than self-improvement.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. And the funny thing is, it was on the rise. It was on the rise, and it's still rising. There's a lot of people who feel like, they've tried the red pill philosophy, the getting yourself together, getting your money right, and they don't have the outcomes. So they're just like, there's no hope. The hot guys are going to get all the women. 20% of the men are going to get all the women, and I'm not going to get anybody. So why even try? It's all hopeless. And those are the ones who get desperate. Those are the ones when they shoot up a school and be like, women didn't like me. Women hate, those are the ones who can be easily radicalized to have a real significant hatred toward women. So I think that's a dangerous form of masculinity that's been put out there, is this Black pill masculinity. Like, well, we don't care, and because everything's predetermined in the first place. Anybody else got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I'll just say the Black pill one, when she was just reading it sounded like some loser shit. And I think because even going back to the red pill one, it's just way too rigid. So it's like y'all said, it's like, man, there's truths and stuff. I like what a little black book said. This is like common sense. I'm 46, never heard of this stuff till like 2 years ago, and maneuvered fine through life. But I think a lot of people, man, when they don't get the person that they feel like they're entitled to get, it's almost like they block everybody else out. So it's like, man, there's somebody that will like you and mess with you, but you just want what you want and you complain about that. And I think that's what a lot of the philosophies are, versus like, you know what, let me self-reflect. Maybe I need to work on some more stuff, or maybe I just need to go out there and stop being too superficial and get somebody that actually rocks with me. Because there's homeless guys that got chicks, you know what I'm saying? I seen one the other day and stuff, and I got a dude that worked with me. He looks like the Penguin, and he just got married. So it's like, if that dude could like get married, shit, too many people shouldn't struggle, but nobody wants to be with somebody that they think is like average or a little bit below maybe. So yeah, I think a lot of people lack awareness and understanding.
Well,
Go
there's somebody
ahead.
out there for everybody. And I think the problem is you think everybody you meet is that person. And then when it doesn't work out, you get disappointed, instead of being like we talked about, working on yourself and continuing to, develop your own likes. If you lack self-awareness, you're never going to evolve into the person that you need to be. So, and that's the person that's going to get with the person you're supposed to be. So there's 8 billion people in the world. Keep it pushing.
That's true. I agree. I 100% agree. Go ahead, brother.
I think obviously with the black pill, like, I love the word that you said there, hopelessness. And it's interesting. So when I look at the red pill, right? In school, these people didn't have any power. It's actually what happens when people who don't have power get power. Like, do you know what they remind me? I know it sounds wild. This is how broke people would be if they were rich. If they were to have power over rich people, they would act the exact same way. It's honestly the same thing. It's people that are drunk off power, right? And not recognizing that rich people are rich, not just because they're stealing all your money, but because they understand the game. And so when people don't understand the game of socialism and how you're meant to act in a society, right? This is what happens with what we see with black pill. So like when you were in school, you saw that there were tiers, right? And tears exist wherever you go. You can never get rid of them. You go to work, there's tears. You go to your friendship group, you got tears. Wherever you are, there's going to be some level of tears. You have to understand how socialism works, or society works, so I should say, for the word, not socialism, society. And when I look at some of the red pill and the black pill people, the manosphere in essence, right? A lot of these people are nerds. Okay, I'm just going to be on with you, okay? They're nerds. Okay.
Just revenge. That's what I say.
You know what I mean? A lot of them didn't get the girls. And here's what they failed to understand. They failed to observe the patterns of the behaviors of the people that were successful and then begin to learn them. What they did is they wrote a book and a manual, which is fantastic, but then didn't know how to apply it to themselves. Because actually, when you apply something, it doesn't mean apply it strictly the exact same way. For instance, I run a YouTube. Damien, you run a YouTube. You know, even if I was a successful YouTuber, you can't run it the exact same way I do it, or I can't run it the exact same way you're doing it. You can take principles. And so what's happened is they haven't taken the principles and applied it effectively. And some of these people are delusional. You are a solid 4. Ken sometimes would have put you in a 4, but you trying to date people that are 7s and then complaining about why the 7 doesn't look at you because she's a 7 and you're a 4 and you know that. But you're trying to shoot outside your box, and you're not willing to do the due diligence which is needed, which is why I said about the Yada situation. It's the exact same thing. When you equate relationships to being simply, okay, improve my money and my looks, and you forget that your heart is black as cold, and you don't have no personality, you can't make her laugh, you don't make it enjoyable, you don't know how to maintain a relationship. Because actually, most of these guys don't know how to maintain a relationship. They can attract it, because some of these guys have done the work. They've done the outside stuff. They can attract a girl. But the girl wants nothing to do with them because they're trash inside, right? And my last point is this. An example of this is AMS, Alpha Male Strategies, right? He's had several relationships, and then he now is telling you that, listen, he's all about just smashing chicks and moving on. And I said, the reason why you're in that space of just smashing chicks, because you don't know how to maintain a woman. You don't know the game. You know how to attract a woman, and now you're telling them to manipulate women. He's not even telling them to date them. He's telling them to manipulate women. That's nasty work. So then you recognize that in that space, a lot of those men are really poorly educated, not in terms of academics, but in terms of how to deal with the opposite sex. And then it becomes, they're angry, they're bitter because they can't get them, they're frustrated. And now they've developed manipulation tactics to try and wheel those women in. But we always know when you use manipulation, it doesn't last long.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And what could I let me piggyback off of him, because that was one of the issues I always had, Dame. When we was coming on there, we be pushing back on the red pill, because I remember that debate we had. It was just like, man, it's funny because that was what, like 2-3 years ago, when we were just like, hey man, those dudes that's leading the movement are fraudulent.
And look at them now.
They all dropping like dominoes. Like, and that was my thing. It's just like, man, when you're boxed in and you don't kind of develop your own philosophy based on truths, and you're just a follower, it's just like, man, that's your issue, you know? So yeah, we was calling it out then, and then sure enough, like they all started dropping like flies. They didn't follow nothing they did. So yeah, another thing is just the leadership. People don't lead by example. So yeah.
Yeah. And people don't realize wherever you go, there you are. You know, you always bring you with you, no matter what you look like. Whatever you do, you bring you with you. And if you, like you said, is a loser, you're gonna be a loser with what it don't matter. So all right, that was good. I like that one. Let me go to the next one. We got 2 more after this one. All right, go ahead, Whitney, if you don't mind.
White knighting, defending a woman in a way as seen as excessive, performative, or motivated by a desire for approval. The most common criticisms are that black pill masculinity.
It should have been white knighting. Sorry.
It's okay. Why? Okay. The most common criticisms are that white knighting in manosphere ideology seen as unmasculine, submissive, and validation seeking. In mainstream perspectives, it can be rooted in insecurity or social conditioning, but not inherently tied to masculinity. At its core, the term is critique of how masculinity is performed in relation to women, either too differential, too romanticized, or too approval seeking.
This is what we people in these spaces call the simps. These are the people that say that the simps. And the funny thing is that what I get pissed off is I'm old school. I know what simps are. Now people are equating with anybody who does anything nice or for the benefit or accommodating to women Oh, you were I said something. I mean, once I was a panel, I said something I did for my wife, and they were like, you're simping. I'm like, I'm married to this woman. She had pushed out 3 kids of mine. I'm like, can you simp for your wife? I mean, is that? I mean, it's just one of those things where people is just so fucked up in the game. Where I get it, if you're sitting up there and your whole philosophy is based on what women think in order to attract them, or in maybe other cases to monetize off of them, whatever, But it's just one of those things where doing nice shit and being a gentleman is not simping. It's not caping or whatever like that. If whatever you say, honey, I get it if you want to take label, put that jacket on somebody, but it's just one of those things. But it's funny because me and Jerk have been on many panels and been on what's called. I go to some panels, oh, you simping. I go to other panels, oh, you're a chauvinist. I'm like, which one is it? You can't win for somebody. So I want to hear what you guys got to say about it. What do you got to say about it, Jerk?
Yeah, the word's overused. It's like narcissist. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody really know how to define it. So like, I think when people get boxed in and you kind of are on them in a debate, that it's like, you know what, I need a deflection tactic because it's getting hot in here. Dame's cooking my ass. You a simp. So it's like an emotional tactic. So yeah, I think people just overuse it. Like you said, they apply it to situations where it don't even fit. It's like you said, it's like, man, if you're being nice to your wife, there's no white knighting with that. That's who you chose, man. You need to be nice to them. But now if you're doing it out of the norm, you're just protecting somebody, say on a panel that's like completely wrong and shit, then yeah, that would be like white knighting in that case. But typically most people don't do that. Like I said, it's just a tactic when they say it.
One thing I just before I want Rock to get in here, but I just want to say is, but I've done this and I've seen other people done it, and people have jumped them on the panels. It's only specific panels that this happens at, but like it'll be like 8 guys, 2 women, and then like they'll be dogpiling on these women. And I'm just like, dude, this is so unmasculine. This is so unseemly. I mean, like, just, dude, you guys didn't see how you're looking. And I'd be like, and I may even just say, all right, like, let's stop and let's move to, all right, or let me jump in, like, all right, whatever. Like, let's make the point real quick or whatever. They're like, oh, you caping or you whatever. I'm like, dude, I just grew up. I'm made of different stuff. I see like these women just dogpiling as women. I can't just be like, except they're like, get her, yeah, get her. That's if the dudes in the church like, cook her. I'm like,
yeah, I wouldn't consider that white knighting either, because I think you're just trying to pull on the conversation, and eventually it's like if people keep hammering down on somebody, man, they're gonna tap out. So I think you just know how to have effective communication. So, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, people in those cases they be like, oh man, get out the way, let us get them. I'm like, that's bad conversation. That person,
yeah. Go ahead, Rock.
I know what you're talking about. This was literally just happening the other day, and somebody was getting accused of white knighting. Like they literally just said the word. I had to look it up. I had to look up several words this week, but it was because the whole damn panel, which was like 35 men. I'm joking. It was probably like 7 guys. It's 10 on a panel. Is 2 girls and 1 person is saying, okay, guys, it's enough now. Calm down. It's a dog pile now. But it gins up the damn chat. I don't know why. They like debauchery. So if it's 7 men stomping out 1 woman because she made 1 mistake in her word choice as she's trying to explain her thoughts and feelings, yeah, it's very childish. I'm coming to understand, like, this panel is so great. Like, I feel like I can make you guys some tea. We can get up in the morning and go walking. Like, this is so wonderful. Oh my God. I didn't know you two could
do exist.
Yeah. So I guess it's like find your own tribe kind of thing, like, and there are other words that you might get into with this masculinity thing. I'd like to see like what the next slide is, because these terms are all new to me. I just knew, there was like the Rico Suave guy, there was the macho man back in the day. We didn't refer to it as like thought frameworks. We just had like, there was a MacGyver, there was Hulk Hogan, there was Mr. T. You had like a template of a man to go by, and it seemed like, okay, that's a way to be masculine, and that's a way to be masculine. Now it's like what people are thinking is kind of like tied into that, or like their framework, and it's not, I don't think it's always healthy. It's like using that word misogyny, or misandry, misogyny, or narcissist. Like some things are misandrous and misogynist, or it's misogyny. We can say that very clearly. But when you start trying to diagnose somebody as being a narcissist, or a white knight, just because they're trying to do the right thing and not just beat a dead horse on a panel, it's just like, it's too far. I get what you mean. I see that too. Anytime men say anything nice about doing something, or something nice to do for a woman, the YouTube chat doesn't like that. I don't know if it's bots or incels or whatever they call it, but it can get very draining. So that's why I'm saying I love being over here, because it's very calm. I'm learning. It's different perspectives. We're not fighting each other. We're learning. We're all open to hearing what the other has to say. So maybe if we do,
Not up in here.
maybe if we do this more, it will rub off on other spaces, and then people will have an example of what maturity is.
But you know what? I'm gonna be honest and honest. If I'm honest, I don't do this. This will never reach the level of this kind of positivity. Unfortunately, will probably never reach the level of the negativity, because I think the most I've ever had, even at my zenith, was maybe 60, 70 people on the chat or whatever. People agreeing, people but I'm hoping that they're learning something. It's not just a place where they can go and like get her and vent and cuss and fight each other. It's not the Roman Colosseum. It's like, it's where the Romans learned something. It was like that. It was like that's what I hope that what I get out there, because I always say this even when I go on those panels that are like, this what's called. I say I'm never talking to people on the panel. I'm talking to the one or two people who may want to hear something in the chat, because everybody on the panel has made their mind up, and they come here to fight. They come here to be proved wrong. They come here to hear themselves talk. I'm like I said, I could not do this by myself. I see people on like 8-9 hour stream talking by themselves. I'm like, I could never do that, because I don't like myself talking that much. I know I could be long-winded, but not that much. It's like, because I'm trying to learn something from people. I'm trying to like engage with people. I vibe off energy, and when it's always just, I try to create these environments where it's all positive and people are trying to get something out of it. Be like, oh, that, I always point to like on my panels, I want people smiling. If I want to do screen captures and everybody's smiling and laughing, enjoying, it won't be, oh, this person cooked this person, or let me create this thing where this person is fighting somebody. I think nobody wins in that. Only person who wins is the person whose show it is, because they make a lot of views off of it.
The views, and the super chats, they get addicted to that. But that's why I end the night with the funny, because I know we're going to talk about things that are going to piss each other off, but it's still, we're trying to be better people the next day, when you're out in traffic, when you're on your job, when you're on that date getting coffee. Like these conversations, you'll think like, damn, they did just say, because I know I do it with my own husband. When the men get up here on these panels and tell their secrets, it's actually very helpful for women that want to do the right thing. I can't tell you how many times it's like, oh, damn, like I've been reading this situation wrong at home. I need to fix it, or I need to tighten up, or I need to approach it a different way. And it's helpful with my husband, with my son, with my dad, sometimes even my mom. So it's not for naught, even if it's just, 50, 60 people watching. Yeah, it does. It is helpful. It is helpful.
What do you got to say, little black book?
Yeah, man. Listen, I love these kind of spaces. First and foremost, I think the interesting thing, that white knighting thing, I've actually seen someone actually do white knighting. It doesn't look like what happens on these panels. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the white knighting thing is, again, it's another label that's used in order to attack somebody. And it's also used to cause separation, because what you're trying to do is us versus them, right? So in order to do us versus them, you have to give them labels. So white knighting, unfortunately, there are real white knight people who actually are not actually doing it for the good of the person. They're doing it for plaudits. They're doing it for the crowd and all those things, right? But again, we're going back to what Red Pill normally do, which is that they're too rigid, and then they label anybody that goes against the troops immediately. They fall into a category that's us versus them, and that's where the white knighting thing comes in. So, I think for me personally, being on some of those panels, I've been with yourself. That's why I told Fatty and them, man. I said, listen, I can't come to those panels regularly, bro. Like when you want to learn and grow, we're looking to sharpen each other with our intellect, right? So I want to hear what the ladies got to say. You know, if they have a different point of view or the same point of view, I want to be able to hear it. If Sophisticated Jack wants to say, Jerkson wants to say something, I want to hear his point of view, because I want to learn, I want to grow. And I may challenge the thought process, and he may challenge mine. And there's a healthy respect between two people. And a lot of those spaces, it's again, it goes back to what they're actually looking for, which is power. It's why when you go on TikTok's the same thing. People, as soon as you disagree with them, they mute you and they remove you. It's both men and women, by the way, but we're talking about manosphere. It's like a lot of it is just a power grab. So yeah, for me, white knighting, there are genuine people that actually white knight. But majority of people get mislabeled. And again, that's just because he wants to create us versus them. So yeah.
But I like what y'all was saying, because I think, man, you could, like Black Book was saying, it's like you could give pushback, but you don't have to cross over them lines and stuff. And, you know, even when we was on Will's, lives and stuff, Dame, you remember the one lady that came up there? She was like, man, I had like 4 kids by 4 different baby daddies. Man, we had this look on her face, but we made her comfortable. She came back like 4 different weeks and kept on revealing more and more. So I think some people are just impatient. They don't let it's like they got to get everything into like one episode. But it's just like, man, if you just have a good conversation and you don't like pound on them, it's like they're going to come back.
You're a slow cooker. You're a slow cooker. You want
I'm like, man, you want them to come back. But it's like, you know, when people jump on people, it's just like, man, they destroy it and stuff. So we were sitting there. I looked at Dane's face. I was like, whew. But we're like, hey, nah, you ain't got to tell no more. But I was like, oh, shit.
I remember the most memorable thing about Ben Will, because Will, the guy we were referring to, Will Nicosi, had a show called The Masculine Mind, where me, Jerk, and a few other brothers who I think are really have traditional masculine ideologies get together and kind of discuss things, or invite women on to ask questions and pick our brains and stuff like that. And this one woman, do you remember this one Asian woman who got divorced? Her name was Jade.
Yeah,
she came up hot. She came up just like, well, men this, that. And then we talked to her, what's called. And then she posted and tagged Will on his thing. She was like, like in awe, like, you know, I didn't think men could be this insightful. I didn't think men could really want to listen to women, because all I heard was men saying no, women are bad, and I heard women saying bad. But we actually sat down and had a conversation, and they listened to me, and I listened to them, and what have you. And I've totally changed that in my mind, and that there's men out there like that who can be open to women's point of views without sacrificing masculinity, without, I guess, white knighting or caping for women, you know? And it was just like, it was one of those things. That's what I miss about that podcast, because we really did good with that show. People would hit us up all the time talking about that was just a great show or what have you. But yeah, you know, I think he's bringing it back. So, you know, and
he need to come on back. But I'm glad you're doing your thing now, man. Because I do think like conversations are needed. But I do like watching the fuckery. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I can't be on it, but I love watching it for the entertainment purposes.
I'm coming over here. I'm coming to see you, Sophisticated Jerk. Damien, you gonna see me over there?
I be tuned in. Y'all be seeing my super chats up there. I be like, get them. But yeah, I'll be in the chat.
I can sharpen my knives over there. Okay.
Get your boxing skills up. All right.
No, I think you need a little bit of everything. I just think, man, sometimes, like if it ain't your vibe, you can support it a different way. But yeah, I watch a little bit of everything because there is bad behaviors from both men and women. And I think we do need to call those out. But the difference between, I'll say, like guys like us, it's just like, okay, here's bad behavior from this type of woman, but here's also a good woman, so this is what you need to look for.
And that's what next week. That's why when I announced at the beginning, this is going to be a part one and part two, because the next week is going to be perverted femininity. I mean, I'm going to talk about the whole you ain't taking me to the Cheesecake Factory stuff and all this kind of stuff like that. Women need to level set as far as what they should expect, as far as who they should date, instead of how society. It's going to be. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to go into it. We call it down the middle here. I give equal smoke. All right, one more. We got two more. Then this one is, go ahead if you don't mind, Whitney.
Female masculinity, a theory describing how women and gender non-conforming people express masculine traits or identities, challenging the idea that masculinity belongs to only men. The most common criticisms are that female masculinity, it may reinforce gender stereotypes rather than dismantle them. It can be overly visual or aesthetic. It risks misrepresenting or invalidating trans men masculinity. It doesn't account for power differences between male or female masculinities. Traditional critics argue it undermines gender norms text.
Yep. So, how many times are we hearing like, oh, women are just too masculine nowadays? They're just too masculine, Natty is. I know. I was going to say this one. I was going to get to this one to you.
I just put together a whole power cage, squat rack, Smith machine, double pulley cable system by myself.
and Natty could probably do more push-ups than anybody on this panel. I mean, she's in shape. So it's just one of those things where it's just like people are. That's one thing that's a trope that's out there. It's like women are just too masculine. They're acting like they don't need men. They're acting like men are a hindrance to them being happy long term or what have you. Have you experienced like Natty men just been like, oh, you might be overly masculine?
Overly masculine, overly independent. I'm over the top on everything. Yeah. But what I always say is, people who are self-aware, they're not intimidated by somebody who's aware. And I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And when I have strong, healthy leadership in my life, I have no problem submitting to that strong, healthy leadership. But I'm also going to call you out on your bullshit if you're slacking, or if you're not if it turns into a toxic situation. I am not the woman to stand down. I will stand up to you. So, I can play both. I'm a Gemini.
Yeah. Anybody else? You got to say on that, Rock?
I'm a Sagittarius. We sit opposite each other on the zodiac table, so I know your twins can get gangster. And I agree. I can be very independent. I'm an older sister, to a little brother. So there were some times that I had to dig into my masculinity bag to get his bike back, or, for like, and y'all don't roast me for this, but
I promise you nothing.
Okay. So, there's a softness to you all that you all need to have, right? And it's usually displayed with like puppies or babies, young infant children. And then when we're in situations where we have to be defensive, then we have to protect ourselves. We have to get into that masculinity. So I think that there's there's lightness and darkness to all of us. And our experiences in life definitely make us lean to one way or the other. So if you're a woman that's like in survival mode every day and it's just you and those children, then it's like, of course she's going to be more masculine than a woman like me that has help every day and has someone sharing the load. Of course it's easier for me to be softer. But I do think that it's something that can be like corrected or healed, like we were talking about earlier. You know, if you are encountering a woman that is more masculine, and I like that little uh, pictogram that you put together, because I didn't know it was called Rosies. I didn't know women like that
I
were
just
called.
I just found that out. I just found out that they're calling, like, these women, like, because I guess it's from Rosie the Riveter back in the day when men went off to
Yeah,
war.
that's
They took
very.
over. Yeah, they took over production. The production process was all mostly on women, and like
And wasn't that after the War II? I think
that was during the war that all these
yeah,
women
because
took
the
these
men were
jobs.
gone. Yeah, and the women had to work. Yeah, so I mean, and I guess we never course corrected. You know, like we're still in our masculine bag for the most part, or maybe that showed us that we could do, or we thought we could do as much as men. So now it's a little skewed. I do find that even women that have cushy lives can be masculine, and I haven't understood why. Maybe it was they were growing up in a house with a single mother. Maybe that is why they're more masculine than me, and even though they have a husband and they run over their husbands. So yeah, I don't even know what the damn question was anymore, but that whole picture thing made me feel a kind of way, because sometimes as women you do have to be masculine.
Well, I mean, are we equating strength with masculinity? Because that's when I always felt like I was like, I don't necessarily a strong woman who does what needs to be done as masculine. I think
Okay.
I
Strength.
think that
So
you're
you would
supposed
consider it strong, just being
to
strong, not being masculine.
being strong. Don't get me wrong. Because I think when you say that those women who run over their husbands and stuff like that, if they were in the presence of a real masculine guy, a lot of times the women will fall in the line. It's not going to be like, oh no, I need to be the domineering leader running everything. What's called it? Women, and from my understanding and my experience and things I've read, women like to fall back into femininity whenever possible. But it's not always possible in this current situation. So it's I don't think if you're up there like getting shit done, because like I said, I feel like on this panel we got 3 getting shit done women, and I wouldn't say you're masculine. I mean, Natty got biceps bigger than mine, but she, I still wouldn't
She
call them
looks
masculine.
so dainty and demure, like,
I'm
and she stands
hiding.
hard as a rock.
I'm incognito.
Very cool, very cool.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I think when people say masculine for women, I think what they're trying to say is like maybe combative and aggressive and argumentative. That's what I think they mean. Because like you said, it's like I know a lot of females that work and they're all about their household. So like you said, Dame, that's not masculine. It's just I think it's their behaviors more or less. And plus, I'm from New York, and we definitely got some masculine chicks out there. They be out there robbing guys and stuff. So there's a
But the
batch
thing
of
is,
masculine women.
hold on. But when you see that, it comes off as more performative than be like, I'm not buying that. Like which it comes off as a costume, not necessarily, and it might be who they feel they are, but it doesn't come off as authentic. It comes off of them trying to be something, or trying to put out in the world that there's something other than, because like I said, I haven't met a woman who didn't, if they were in the men, I guess, who were handling business, who if a man came in and really was trying to be that masculine leader, that they didn't fall in the line. So
Yeah.
Little Black Book, I know that Whitney's charger is gonna die, so I'm gonna skip Little Black Book on this one, and then we're gonna go to the last one. Now this is the one that I rock with. And this is the one I think most of the men on this panel rock with. And I think this is the one that I think should be pushed out there more. And that is Go ahead and read that.
Traditional male masculinity, sometimes called conventional masculinity or traditional gender roles for men, refers to cultural expectations about how real men should behave. These vary across societies, but major themes are widely recognizable: strength, stoicism, leadership, provider role, independence, assertiveness, and heterosexual norms. The most common criticisms are that traditional masculinity, harmful emotional suppression, restrictive gender roles, reinforces dominance dynamics, can encourage risky or unhealthy behaviors, creates pressure and around financial success, marginalizes non-traditional or queer masculinities, can undermine emotional connection in relationships.
All right. So like the criticisms, I don't necessarily like it, but and the reason I put James Evans on there from Good Times is because I think he is the epitome of male parental masculinity. I've not seen a father figure, especially a black father figure, who showed more true traditional masculinity. He was a man. He ran his house. He sacrificed for his family. He worked hard. He deferred when his woman had a better understanding of any specific situation. He didn't say, I need to know everything, but everything he sacrificed, and he did it, and he did it wholeheartedly. I think there's a lot of men who who fail to meet some of the standards, meet those standards. And I think it's important that we try to push those type of dynamics further. Like some of the other stuff that's been kind of added to it, like, dominance and like not recognizing queer masculinity and stuff like that. I think those are some things that need to be worked on. But for the most part, I think the things that he represented when I was watching Good Times, and he kind of looks like my stepdad, I ain't gonna front. So and he was that kind of guy too. I think that has always been like the gold standard when it comes to traditional male masculinity for me. I'm gonna let Little Black Book jump in there first since he didn't go on the last one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I was because obviously when I was researching a little bit more the topic masculinity, it shifts. There's parts of it. There's part of it that's static, and there's parts of it that are shifting with the times, right? So, for instance, how we look at stoicism, right? It needed to happen. If you're in the 1940s, I'm sorry, we ain't got time for emotions, my guy. We're about to go to war. We haven't got time for you to be crying about stuff. You know what I mean? We haven't got time for you to thrive in your emotional intelligence. We need you to start shooting. It's just that simple. Like, you ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? So in that time and season, that did work. As time is moving on and our environment shifts and it changes, we're able to afford different types of behavior. So the masculinity that we had in the 1940s or the 1910s from the 90s onwards, right, has had to go through a metamorphosis of a shift. So right now, what we're looking for men to do is now to expand in their emotional intelligence, because women are asking for that, and because we're able to thrive, and because putting money on putting bacon on the table ain't enough, bro. You know what I mean? So I think there are aspects of masculinity which are static. For instance, the ability to be assertive, the ability to execute, the ability to be a protective and provider. When I say provider, I don't just mean money, but in terms of you being the person that gives, right? So that can be in any kind of format. So those things are static. They're part of, I think, a flow when it comes to energy. But there are other aspects of our traditional masculinity which will have to shift and will have to change. Right. So the traditional aspect of you being that brute where you make money and you're like, well, you hear men say, oh, I paid the bills. I don't know why she's upset. Yeah, bro, in 1940s would have worked. You had you're a couple of decades late, my guy. You know what I mean? It worked then, that traditional sense of it. So for me personally, it's about being up to date with what the current market is, understanding how masculinity fits into that. There are aspects which are static, but there are a lot of things that need to shift. For instance, last thing, in UK, I'm sure it might have been in US history at 1.2. Men used to wear stockings. Men used to wear heels. I don't even want to know that. Men used to wear makeup.
Yeah.
At one point. Yeah, and wigs. So masculinity can shift depending on the time. And that was rich folk business, having a bit of a heel on your shoe now. Now, if Damien, you wear heel now, we're gonna look at you and look away. You know, people wearing skirts and looking at them and look away. So it does shift.
Check this out. This is so perfect. I had this. I know I was gonna use it, but this is so what you call it. This is a what's happening nowadays. And
lace.
That's the heterosexual man. That's not like he's going to like a homosexual club. This is a heterosexual man sagging in lace boxes. I mean, like, what are we doing now? I mean, like, where's your daddy? Where's your family? You know,
he's a little bit too
exactly.
He's too ahead of the curve. He's got to give it a few more decades before.
Yeah, exactly. He's too far above us. So. All right, I'm gonna let anybody say anything want to say about that because we've been gone. This has been a great panel. I usually like cut it off like 2.5, but we've been rocking out, having joined each other's company. So anybody got any last words and say anything like that about anything that we spoke about or what have you? Like I tried to end it with a funny like you do, Rock. So
I mean,
go ahead, Whitney.
No, it's okay. The traditional roles of like masculinity, I have to say, like for me, that was a huge part of what ended my marriage because there was this idea that as a woman, like I was expected, like, have you seen, there's like a video and it's like, he never saw it coming, like the divorce. And he's sitting there in the restaurant, like eating by himself, enjoying his food. And the mom's holding all 3 kids, like trying to feed all kids, like trying to feed herself. And like, he's just sitting there. And I feel like there's this idea of traditional roles where like men protect and provide, but now, and it's not necessarily at fault of the men, but like it's hard to not live on 2 incomes, right? So now women are expected to work also to contribute financially, because I can tell you that the lifestyle that we've lived over the past, decade or whatever would not have been possible without me also contributing and working, because when we did do it on 1 income, it was hard. We were struggling. So I had to work in order to get us out of there. But then I was expected to work. I was expected to pay half. I was expected to cook. I was expected to clean. And at the end of my marriage, I was like, hey, like, he was like, I cleaned the kitchen. I was like, no, you did the dishes. Like, you didn't clean the kitchen, and this entire house has to be cleaned. Like, so I was expected to work. I was expected to take care of kids. I was expected to do all of it. And his response, because he is Hispanic and like those big cultural gender roles definitely took over. Well, that's your job as a woman. Like, you need to have dinner ready. Like, you need to cook and clean. And I was like, well, if that's what we're going to do, your job as the man is to protect and provide. And I'm providing half, right? So if I'm providing and I'm doing half of your role, then you need to come home and scrub the toilet and do half of my role, right? So it ultimately is what ended my marriage. And I was like, I'm just done. And we talked about earlier, like, women don't want to get married anymore. Well, marriage didn't last because women were happy. It lasted because they didn't have a choice, because it wasn't until the 1970s we could buy a house without a man. And it wasn't until 1988 that we could get a business loan without a man. Now we can. I was born in 86. Like, now we can run our businesses, and now more women own businesses. There's more women entrepreneurs than ever before, because we are taking back that independence, and there's a reason for it. And it's because men are not traditional masculine anymore. And again, like, no fault of their own, like, it's really hard to provide on 1 income.
I'm gonna have Rock jump in it, but I just want to say something. That's why, like I said, when I put James Evans up there, his masculinity was nothing to do with money, because they were poor. It was all about the intangibles that he provided outside of that. It wasn't about money. So I think a lot of cats lean too much on I pay the bills, you should do it, like you just said, or even worse, you should just do it because I got the penis, that you finding a lot of that happening nowadays. It was like, well, I want to be traditional, but like you said, I got to get out and work. I got to pay the bills or what have you. It's like, you want this new traditional where you get all of the accolades and what have you, and none of the responsibility of a traditional man, And so go ahead.
For the record on that, and I don't want to cut you off, but like, I was like, honestly, you're kind of in my way. Like, if I divorced you and you got out of my way, like, I bet you in 5 years I will out earn.
Knew we was gonna live
He
agree
cut
with.
her Wi-Fi. He was like, "Oh hell no!"
That's
You
right.
know,
No, you won't.
He's like, "Oh, she talking greasy up there."
she was saying, I knew her internet was her chart. She texted me, it's like, I'm on so low, and what you call it, if she it's cool. We about to
But real quick, can I just jump in there real quick? Because yeah, I think when it comes to masculinity, like you said, a lot of stuff is going to be stagnant. But I think a lot of times people, I like what Little Black Book was saying. It's like, you got to adapt. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, man, you should be thinking about winning with your household. So for example, like me and my wife, both high earners, we both work, but she was like trying to do everything. And I was like, man, I'm an adult. Like I could clean up and wash my own damn clothes. So it's just, sometimes I think people are too stuck in their ways sometimes. And like you said, it's like, man, you got to be fair sometimes. You can't run somebody to the ground and have them doing everything. And if they're like, say like my wife's working, I can't have no expectations of her doing all that stuff. And I'm just sitting back. I don't even see how you could really like somebody. So I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, man, how we make it efficient? What tasks do we need to do? Let's put it on schedule. Let's get a structure. So it's just, I don't think people talk about efficiency. I think that needs to be embedded in masculinity. Then also we need to break out good versus bad leadership.
That's the point.
I think like you said, we need to hone in on that because I think a lot of times when people they're just talking about leadership, it's just like, man, that's kind of bad. When you start analyzing it, like in what's her name, Whitney's case, that is unfair. If she's doing all that stuff and the expectations don't adjust, that's bad leadership.
And she just texted me. One of the things she said was like, when she ended up leaving him, she ended up tripling her income without him because she didn't have him. Yeah. She didn't have him as some kind of anchor. I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like guys want, there's a magic bullet word that floats around the air. It's like men want submission without leadership, but a lot of men will say women want protection and provision without submission. So I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just, you have to reframe what you expect a traditional man should be. I mean, there's certain aspects that are, like you said, are stagnant, but there's some, just like you said, have to grow with the times. If you have two incomes or what have you, then you cannot say, well, my leadership or any expect submission or acquiescence based on finances, because the finances are equal. Even if they're not equal, if it's 60-40, there's still a financial aspect where you can't be like, well, I'm paying 60% of the bills. Well, traditional men paid 100% of their bills. So what do you want? It's like, so I think they need to really be on some, what other valuable, tangible things can I do to show leadership, good judgment, good decision-making? How can I make her feel comfortable enough that she kind of just falls back into her feminine or what have you? Because like I said, I think most women want to, but I think guys just, they're just don't, it's not like how they used to be. They just don't know what to do in order to make women feel comfortable to do that. And it's not being a simp, it's not being doing what they want. It's actually doing what's best for the relationship and keeping it, what's best for her. So, well, not necessarily best for her, but it's more like best for the relationship.
For the family as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
And considerate of other people.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah. So, all right.
It should be simple, but it's
but people, like I said, it's like that Lauryn Hill song.
You're never gonna get a man to want to do the house chores. Like men just don't, like my husband, the laundry room will be chucked full of laundry and there'll be one leaf out on the lawn and he'll want to get out there and get his blower out and do all of the toys with his lawn equipment and just walk right past that laundry room. There's just nothing that'll motivate him to get in there. And that's fine with me. It's just, It is what it is. Like now, even he's offered to hire me a maid, and I said no. Maybe it's the Hispanic or Latin in me where I just can't have someone cleaning my dirty underwear. I don't feel comfortable with that. Like he's offered to help. I've said no. I make my peace with the fact that the house isn't going to be as clean as I want it every day. So I had to make little compromises with myself. I have a 15-year-old, I have a Doberman, I have a husband. They're all men. They don't give a damn if the pillows are primpy and nice, and if the vacuum lines are freshly done, nice and organized. They don't care about that. That's my stuff. But when you're telling your husband that you need help, that you're struggling, that they should be able to like step in and not do it, but offer solutions to the problem,
or just do it, or just do it. Or just
do it. Yeah, exactly. Because you're paying for it either way. You're going to pay for it if you lose your wife. You're going to pay for it if you hire a nanny. You're going to pay for it if you do it yourself. There's a cost that it comes with. Like, doing it or not doing it.
Just the way a man sick, I can understand if he was like, I don't want this to be my job cleaning the laundry room. But if you got other stuff going on and the laundry room is a mess, I'm gonna step in like, okay, yeah, I see her wrangling the dog and the cooking and all that stuff like that. Let me go clean the laundry room just help her out that way.
He did that for me one day last month, and I almost cried. I was like, I cannot believe you did the whole lot. Like, he didn't fold it, but it was washed, it was dried, and he had like put all the t-shirts in one pile and all the socks in one. And all I had to do was go in there and just magic happened in 1 hour. And that would have taken me all day to do.
If men realized that they could either buy flowers or unload the dishwasher and then have the same result.
Yeah, so true.
They would save so much money. I mean,
you unload that dishwasher, you'll probably be happier with me
than when
you buy me those flowers.
Like,
yeah,
seriously, you gonna get it. Seriously.
Yeah, y'all caught on to my secret. I'm cheap as hell, so
unload. You be unloading some dishwasher as well.
She's like, "Why you always doing dishes?" I'm like, "You ain't getting no damn flowers."
Seriously. Be like, seriously, I put some gas in your car. Your tire was low,
Oh, that's really sweet too. I really enjoy that right there. Not having to go to the gas station is lovely. Very nice that I don't have to stress out what side my gas can is on my car. I know I drive it every day, but it's a girl math that just hasn't sunk into my brain yet. Yeah, and I don't know why it stresses me out.
Yeah, my wife she don't ever clean her car or put gas in it or wash her car, or it is whatever. I do it anytime I like, let me go. I'm going to the store. I'm gonna go take your car and I go do all the shit.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. It's like,
man, we got to cut this live, man. Y'all, my wife would be like, you don't do none of that shit. Y'all simping up here.
They're white knighting. They're white knighting.
I'm white knighting for my wife.
Y'all got me out here looking mad as
you always
Black
say
Buck, stay on mute. Don't be coming up here. Well, I do this now. Don't have me looking bad out here.
You say that, but you gonna get off this thing, hang up, be like, all right, baby, where's that iron? I know you got them clothes. You fronting up in here.
That's how you have successful relationships. Right?
That's how you have a long-term successful relationship. Mm-hmm. Realizing that you're not doing stuff for your wife, you're doing stuff for the relationship. That's the way. That's what you remember that, and you will be things will go a lot smoother. Well, this has been a fantastic relaunch panel. I'm sorry that Whitney dropped off, but she was fantastic. You guys have just been amazing, or what have you. Just made it fun, made a great birthday show. I just want to give it Jerk, my dog.
Thank you.
Natty, it's just been a pleasure.
Thank you.
A little black, my man. Raquel, it's been so good having you. If you guys like this, go ahead and subscribe, share it, do what you're gonna do, what have you. Next week it'll be us talking about femininity. And don't get me wrong, like I said, bitch assness is not a male only disease. Women can have bitch asses now. So we go. I'm gonna have the same thing. I'm gonna put up some clips and have the panel judge and whether or not it's bitch asses, and we're gonna talk about the different types of femininity and how it relates to how the social media is putting out there or promoting it. But it's gonna get crazy because they're promoting some crazy shit when it comes to women out there. So tune in for that one. If any of you guys want to come back for that one, I'll be more than happy. If you guys are just fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so
Me too.
it's gonna be next week. I already got it scheduled. I'll send out all the invites and stuff like that.
Okay.
Black Book, if you can make it, it would be amazing. But I know you are a busy man. But I'll reach out to you next week and see where you at with it. But thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. And I will talk to you guys another day.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dane.
Thank you.
Bye,
Happy birthday.
birthday.
Bye.
Bye.